and more technical difficulties for our intros, but we will hopefully get that figured out for future streams. Anthony Sorgi here in the Sorgi Story Studios, ready for the 2024 All-Star Game. My dad will be down in just a minute, and we are joined from the great state of Minnesota by the one and only Baseball Road Tripper. Welcome back for stream number 2. Yeah, make sure to subscribe. I'll let me grab your channel link and stick that in the chat for everyone.
And you recently made an appearance on that channel just 2 videos ago.
Yes, I did. I saw that video, as all of your other ones are, absolutely phenomenal. Between the Friday night at the bank for City Connect night and some Saturday college ball action. But yeah, so currently the AL getting ready to finish up their intros. And guess who's with us now?
Sorry, I'm late to the party. I've been trying to run a business and cooking myself dinner, the true all-American meal, Italian sausage and chocolate chips.
Very Italian. Very Italian.
Not combined, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Dark chocolate chips, not as good as normal chocolate chips, in my opinion.
Healthier, actually.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a slight health advantage to it.
Okay, well, that's a fun fact of the day for everyone.
Yes. So, have we had the anthem?
No.
Too soon.
I wasn't even going there, but I guess literally too soon too. So, excellent use of double entendre.
Aided in the chat saying hello.
Hey.
But yeah, we should have a fun one today.
Let's see. I see Aiden asking for predictions here.
I'm taking the NL because I'm biased. That's the only reason.
Talent-wise, I would say NL, but there is the bottom of the ninth. AL advantage, of course, is the home team. So, not like park matters as much anymore, but
yeah, for sure.
Because all the teams play each other now and play in every stadium every 2 years. So
yeah,
that works.
So we don't think that it's going to be another Milwaukee and have a tie?
I think there are now officially rules against that, aren't there?
I would hope so.
And you had to rub in Milwaukee, huh? Yeah, that scene of Joe Torre, Bob Brenly, and Bud Selig just going, like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
It was almost like Three Stooges, but baseball.
I would never call Joe Torre a stooge. I mean, Selig, I think in that moment, yes, you could argue was, but he was. I would never call him a stooge in terms of his ownership of the Brewers.
Yeah, and by the way, I can't believe Bud Selig is like 89 now.
Oh yeah,
and we haven't seen him at many Brewers games.
No.
I did see John Boy Media during one of his Brewers breakdowns was talking about his sister being in the stands.
Okay.
But I haven't seen him much at Miller Park as we.
Where does he live?
Arizona.
Okay.
Oh, I thought he still had a house in Milwaukee.
He might still, but I think he spends more of his time in Arizona.
Okay, I know he has a house, or at least he did as of like when we moved. He had a house up in Mequon, in the Mequon Fox Point Bayside area.
Okay.
As doing tonight's national anthem, we have Cody Johnson, a country singer.
Are we starting with O Canada first? Because, of course...
we are starting with O Canada. Or no, we're starting with Star Spangled.
They must have already done Canada.
Probably. They probably just didn't show it.
Yes. I really appreciate... You know what? I really appreciate the context that was given by last night's anthem singer about her performance.
Yeah.
That she recognized that she has an alcohol addiction and needs to work on it.
Yeah.
And you know what? That could the silver lining out of all of that is that there could be someone else who heard that message that gets help.
Yeah.
That's going to help people. That's cool. Yep. That's cool in the end. The absolute most embarrassing and worst anthem I've ever heard at a baseball game this side of Carl Lewis. And this side of Roseanne Barr.
I was just going to ask if Roseanne Barr made the Mount Rushmore of bad.
Nice. I actually have a friend whom you may see on this channel at some point once we get around to doing some editing.
Okay.
Our family friend Rhonda, she was a longtime anthem singer at Milwaukee Brewers games. And when she attended the Berklee School of Music in Boston, I believe sang at a Red Sox opening day.
Wow.
And to hear Sean McDonough announcing her name as she walks off the field is just like,
yeah,
whoa.
Yeah.
Like one of our friends got announced by Sean McDonough.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But yeah. The question that I was going to ask last stream, but we ran out of time before we had to segue onto this one, is I want you guys and the chat World Series predictions now that we are halfway through the season. I'm going to keep exactly what I had on opening day, which is Phillies over Orioles in 7. Dad?
I will defer to you just momentarily, a baseball road tripper. I'm going to give my response in a minute.
Oh. I'm going to go Phillies.
Okay.
And you know what? I'm going to throw my Cleveland team a bone. I want the AL Central to finally fully represent us. But unfortunately, I think that the Phillies will beat them. But that's good news for you guys because then you'll get to go to a parade maybe and have some content on the channel.
Yes.
Party on Broad Street.
I would love that. I am not going to discount the possibility of our two teams playing in the World Series, meaning either Milwaukee, Minnesota, or Philly, Minnesota, but I'm not going to count on it.
Milwaukee, Minnesota would be a series that would be just awesome for everyone.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Not for the rest of the country, but but for us.
Flyover country? Oh,
yeah.
Love it. Love it.
But I don't see the Twins doing it because they need probably 2 top-end pitchers to make them scary. And I don't think that they're going to make that trade.
Yeah. I think you're right, kid. At this pace, I'm thinking we're going Philly-Baltimore.
Philly-Baltimore. I mean, that would just be a good series for Phillies fans because they would be able to pack out Camden Yards.
Take the train.
Yeah. I mean, you can take an hour train. You can take a 90-minute drive. It's super easy to get down to Baltimore. The series that would also be cool to see would be Brewers.
Throwing out the first pitch. Do you see who it is?
Yeah.
Oh man, love it.
I hope he still throws like 90.
Yeah.
From reports I've seen, he still can throw at least 80.
Yeah, I was gonna say he can throw like his age, which is incredible.
He has trouble moving.
Yeah.
But he's still got it.
As
Beltre.
Legend.
Is he also throwing it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are they gonna have Pudge Rodriguez out there?
I think they already have him out there.
Okay.
It looks like it to me. They have 4 guys out there.
Yep.
It look like, yeah.
Pudge is gonna catch it. I love it.
That is
as
awesome.
he should. As he should. Excellent.
Ooh.
Beltre, the pitch, and
One.
it is just a bit outside.
Oh, now I have to go back and watch the Euchre special.
Yeah, I'm gonna say as soon as this stream's over,
and they put Tom Rinaldi on him.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you're gonna. That's the ultimate challenge. They must have made a bet to see if Tom Rinaldi can make Bob Uecker cry. Because Tom Rinaldi can make a stone cry.
Yeah.
He is so awesome.
And Uke can make you cry of laughter.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was just thinking, seeing Pudge Rodriguez out there, can we safely say that Missouri has had, in recent history, the best 2 catchers of all time? Like, at least rated like that in during that time frame? Because
I think he's still got
I wouldn't necessarily say that he has been one of the best 2 of all time, but just for what they are for rated like in the same state, I would say that maybe they're the best tandem that a state has ever had going at the same time.
We're now about to test that. See
who was in Cleveland when Johnny Bench was there.
I don't know. I would not say anyone worthy.
And we'd have to go back to what, Yogi Berra and Roy Campanella?
Yeah, best from New York. I mean, that to me is at least comparable, if not even better. But if you're going for home state, I think the best you can do for Oklahoma, which is where Johnny Bench is from, is probably going to be JT Realmuto. Yeah.
Is he from there?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Or we can go to where Josh Gibson is from.
Ooh. Was
That
he down in
on
Alabama?
What were you saying?
Was he down in Alabama, Gibson?
Gibson was from Buena Vista, Georgia.
Okay.
We're now going to go year by year. Pittsburgh Crawfords.
I'm just thinking Salvador Perez and Yadier Molina just during that time frame, especially because they haven't been first baseman and catcher like Joe Mauer was and stuff. Like they put in the innings at their position.
True.
And that's super respectable.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I would tend to want to argue that if either the Pirates or the Phillies had an all-star catcher when Josh Gibson was playing for the Pittsburgh Crawfords, I'd take that. Or when he played for the Homestead Grays in Washington, D.C. If the Senators had anyone who was of reasonable quality, I have no idea.
Yeah. And that's the unfortunate part about the Negro Leagues is that we're at least uncovering a lot of the offensive stats, but when it still comes to defensive, we don't hear as much about that. And it would be so incredible even to just see one of their games. Like you said, Josh Gibson behind the plate. I want to see that gun on him because all you hear is that he just had a rifle, but we don't know much else. And we also know that the guys in the Negro Leagues, they had wheels on them and they were stealing bases. So
yes,
if he was gunning people down, he had an arm.
Yes.
Yeah.
By far.
And I said on our College World Series stream that because of those offensive stats and the defense you're talking about, I think he has to be in that GOAT conversation now.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's him or Ruth. And then Aaron and Mays in that top 4. And then number 5, there are a million pitchers that you could argue.
A million pitchers or Ted Williams.
Yeah, Ted Williams is there. But like Satchel Paige, Nolan Ryan, Pedro Martinez, I just
thought of it. So we talked about redoing the home run derby. So if you could travel back in time, having basically Negro Leagues versus MLB, that would be incredible. But then if you actually had it currently, instead of going by team, go by country.
That's interesting.
That was what that was another, I forget. It might have been your guy Trevor Plouffe who said that.
Really?
I think it was either him or Chris Rose who also mentioned the country idea of having like World Baseball Classic style. Where
that Dominican pride versus like the Cubans or the Puerto Ricans and then the Americans versus the Japanese and stuff. Like
Yeah.
Oh,
That'd be just nuts.
Yeah.
Just nuts. I also have to, I'll bring this one up. Tell me if you can think of a better year where if they would have had home run derby at this particular time than what we came up with. Let me find this here. We looked at 1957.
You did. I didn't.
Okay. I guess I did. But all right. And these are your 8 competitors. Alphabetical order. All Hall of Famers. Hank Aaron, Ernie Banks, Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Stan Musial, Frank Robinson, Duke Snider, Ted Williams.
Would have been insane.
If you would have, tell me there's a better home run derby capture from 1 year.
Can we also maybe just expand it maybe by 2 more guys and add Harmon Killebrew in there?
Was he around in 57?
I just looked at his stats. He started in 54, and he still wasn't like the superstar slugger until 59. But give that farm boy some wood in his hands, I think he would have probably went to town.
Ooh. I think we just had an emotional moment. Someone with the name of Zaria just dropped a baseball at the mound, and someone leading her there was like in tears walking back with her. Oh, man.
I had this Ken Rosenthal interviewing Corbin Burns on the mound.
Yeah, the stuff you can do in an all-star game because it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's awesome. Sorry, God.
I'm also trying to look at that Baltimore Oriole logo in like hot pink. It just
I know it is. It's bright on the eyes, isn't it?
Doesn't work.
Yeah,
as you were saying.
I was gonna say. Sorry, God.
I wonder. You just talked about the emotional moment. I know. Almost 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, they had that person in Arlington pass away. That father. Who fell over the stands in the outfield. I kind of wonder if maybe that was them bringing them out, because I know that they've honored that person outside of the gates at the old stadium. So that's maybe my guess. I didn't hear it.
Yeah. Aiden sang, talking about the song Rhinestone Cowboy, and also saying that's and then ELS NL for AL2. I was going to mention before we get underway, as I'll go ahead and run through the NL batting order. It's Marte, Ohtani, Turner, Harper, Contreras, Yelich, Bohm, Hernandez, and Profar starting for the National League and batting for the National League tonight to start this game.
2 Phillies. You got 44.4% of the lineup covered by your home bases.
Goodness.
Yeah, we quite the amount of Brewers and Phils. All
and
of my all-star votes.
Former Brewers starting for the AL.
Yeah, Burnsy.
I love this. Getting to watch Burnsy against Yelich.
Well, no, because Yelich is batting 4th, so who knows? Let's hope for a base runner. Let's put it that way. Let's hope for a base runner. So we can see. I really want to see Yelich and Contreras go back to back off of him.
Oh. All right. How are our umpires?
Ben May stinks. He has beef with Pat Murphy, I think.
They didn't give Angel Hernandez one last hurrah and throw him in there?
They should give Angel one last memorial tribute. With
let him throw out one last person.
Or either that, or they should have had Stevie Wonder do the national anthem.
Yeah. Or have him call balls and strikes for that first pitch.
True.
As it is a 1-0 count to Ketel Marte, the guy that I'll call the most underrated player in baseball. Maybe it's a hot take, but I feel like he's there. as Nick the Legend and Will Indy in the house. Nick saying, can't believe this is happening. Are you saying Brandon Marsh should be a starter? Because I didn't even have Brandon Marsh on my all-star team. Like, I didn't think that he had the numbers overall as the first out of the game recorded for the American League. But also, Nick, you can't get greedy. The Phillies have tied the record for the most all-stars ever. So don't get too
are
greedy.
we taking bets on this next at bat, Anthony?
Shohei here is going to get struck out by Corbin Burns.
Okay.
That's my take.
Let's see. Definitely wearing Miami Marlins-ish colors, by the way, with his national jersey.
Yeah,
I was thinking the National League is. Ugh. I don't get the bright colors because that doesn't really match anything to do with Texas.
Right. It's like they're just thinking of something that's going to sell merchandise.
Yeah.
Or using whatever, because we know that Fanatics has had issues keeping certain color swatches in stock. So I'm kind of wondering if it's just like, we have this in stock, let's make it out of this.
Goodness.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Talk about some serious heat.
And ELS is right here. If you remember last year, yes, ELS did get our score right last year. Aiden, I agree. The All-Star Game logo, like the one that has like Texas, I love that.
I was just going to bring that up because I know that Aiden sent over the logo for the commemorative baseball, and I really like that. Anytime that you actually put the state in there, especially an iconic state like Texas, it's pretty.
Yeah, 2-2 count now to Ohtani, and it is full here. Nick saying, I think what a lot of Phillies fans are feeling, losing 2 of 3 to the Athletics, so not really caring. It happens. It's part of baseball.
Yeah.
The Braves lost a series to the Athletics. The Brewers got swept by the Athletics.
Oh, and Burnsy just sent Ohtani to first with the base on balls.
And honestly, the Athletics this year aren't as bad as what they started out as, so they're not the worst team.
They're not fully living to the major league script, but they've got a pulse.
Yeah, when they were ahead of the Astros, I was like, oh, maybe can they make the playoffs? But no.
So Anthony, where does Globe Life rank for you for remaining stadiums to tackle?
Of how much I want to get there?
Yeah.
And to our viewers, by the way, that man over in that direction has great stories about Globe Life Field. He went to a World Series there.
Yes.
An iconic World Series game. Oh.
Yeah, yes.
As Bryce Harper comes up to the plate, he's batting .301 this season for the Phillies. On my list, I think it ranks lower. For sure. Like when it comes to, like I'd rather go just on my list. San Francisco's higher, San Diego's higher.
Oakland is higher.
That's Seattle.
Oakland. I wish that we could go back to Oakland for like we obviously there in 2019, but I wish we could go back this year for the Brewers last series there.
You got Seattle.
I'm not super intrigued by Seattle. I think Globe Life, just because it's so new, will be higher as Harper gets on base. Shohei to third.
Little first and third action or second and third?
On the corners with 2 outs.
So Christian Yelich is up with an opportunity to break this thing off.
No, second and third, so he stretched it nice.
Yeah.
I didn't. I've been there a couple times. I was not super impressed by the new digs there. It feels cavernous. It's very Texas where it feels big, but I loved the old stadium there, the old facade in the outfield. I didn't even mind the one of the times that I went out to Texas in the old stadium. It was 107 degrees. There's something I know as a local would probably get annoying to go there every day like that, but
Yes.
you wear a badge of honor if you're a visiting person that can say, "Hey, I was there when it was above 100."
Yeah. William Contreras first.
Oh, he is? I thought. Okay.
Yeah, Yelich is 6th.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, you've talked a bunch of times about how Houston and Texas, their stadiums feel
I don't think they actually.
semi-carbon copies.
I don't think that they actually are in real life. I think it's more seeing what they look like.
That left field is very, very similar.
Yeah, that's where I get that from. Is just the left field of it looks so similar. But it seems just like an intriguing stadiums. Like I saw Adam the Woo's vlog recently. And Nick giving me crap. I saw that you texted too. I'm trying to currently put on silent mode on my phone. But this phone, there we go. Okay, I got it on. But yeah, so I would say Globe Life, like I love how there are rocking chairs that you can sit in on the top level. Like little nooks and crannies like that. And the clubs around the stadium, like the exclusive like dining areas and everything like that look phenomenal.
Yeah. They have some along the lines just past the dugout where you can eat in like this club area, and it has like almost like you're below the field level, kind of looking up. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, so Aiden, you're saying that basically
Florida's really hot.
Florida is like Philly. Little dribbler. And Burns gives Contreras a hug as he attempts to reach first base after getting the thrown to end the top of the first with no score.
And it is Paul Skenes time.
The stash. Oh, for you. The power of the stash shall be felt tonight.
Yeah. Let's just hope, as I said earlier, let's hope we get one base runner so we can get Aaron Judge up. That's what I want. I want to see Skenes versus Judge. Skenes versus Soto and Skenes versus Henderson will be too cool as well.
Yes.
But see, ELS, I would actually disagree with. In my opinion, we've been to all three of those stadiums. Let me pull up. I have my rankings. I have my rankings on Google Docs. Let me look at them. There we go. I ranked Comerica number 7 on my list. I gave it an 8.6 out of 10. Target Field number 8 an 8.5 out of 10. And I gave Miller Park number 10 an 8.2 out of 10.
I would actually agree exactly with you, where I have it the exact opposite of what ELS had. Yeah.
Yeah. The Brewers, I'm obviously biased for. Yeah, Nick, I can say as well, like the 105 degree feels like Sunday. We're not fun at all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, when I would definitely say Detroit is underrated.
Yeah, Detroit
very underrated
as a city and as a stadium. But
yes,
Detroit just is
big time.
Seems like a cool place to.
We need to figure out, and I'm not sure when this is going to happen.
Yeah,
the game where the three of us, Yost and Aaron Johnson, we're all going to hang together. Where is the right locale? What's the right game and matchup?
I mean, Tigers make sense.
Yeah, we would have to map out the exact. What we would have to do is look at Kansas City and Philly, since those are the two farthest places, and figure out which is the best meeting point between the two, and then figure out of you and Aaron try to figure out that as well and get that whole.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere between Chicago and Detroit.
Yeah, that's what I was
the
thinking.
midpoint. So it's going to be one of those two locales.
Or even Pittsburgh or Cincinnati.
Also true as well.
I love Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is one of my favorite ballparks. As Skenes' first pitch gets Kwan to foul one off. How about Stephen Kwan? His story of how this year, during the offseason, as the AL lineup is Kwan, Henderson, Soto, Judge, Alvarez, Ramirez, Guerrero, Rutschman, and Semien. I don't know how Marcus Semien got into that lineup. But
yes, Busch Gardens, but love PNC Park more than Busch Gardens.
Yeah, I love PNC is one of my favorite spots. But Kwan, during the offseason, learning how to swing and miss more so that his swing would become more powerful. Incredibly intriguing.
Yes.
The way the Guardians have done that with him. But, yeah, so.
352, wow.
Yeah, solid, right? As that is a pop-up.
He's almost gone Ichiro when you think about it.
Yeah.
Part of me would love to see, and I know we talked about announcers with this, like the top 9 local announcers each getting an inning.
I was actually thinking of that for the home run derby. Whoever is the team of the player, have their local guy call it like you would call normal home runs. That could be kind of fun too to showcase guys from different markets.
I said yesterday when we were sitting here, I said, I want Michael K doing this just so we get see ya just over it like 100+ times.
I know. He gets so sick of saying it. So sick of saying it.
But see, Nick is biased to Citizens Bank Park because it
home.
It is.
I get it.
Yeah. But yeah, Great American is awesome. I will say PNC is tied for my favorite ballpark in baseball.
With Fenway?
With Fenway and Camden Yards for my favorite. 3-way at the top. See, and I'm going to do this just because I know this is going to get on Nick's nerves. See, Brian Anderson is so much better than Tom McCarthy, Nick, and I know you cannot stand Brian Anderson with all of your guts and just every living thing inside of you. But Brian Anderson is one of the best announcers in baseball. Case closed. Thank you. Sorry, I just needed to get on Nick's nerves there for a moment. Because Phillies fans have been critical of him in the past.
Oh, Nick. Oh, my God.
Oh.
Now, baseball road trip from Minnesota. Legendary baseball voices. I don't think of Minnesota as having as many with a national reach and a national name. The names I think of with Minnesota announcers are the lineage of the Vikings announcers.
Okay.
Going from what Joe McConnell to Ray Scott to on down the line, now Paul Allen. Who are we talking with about for the Twins?
Twins back in the day, it was, for me, Herb Carneal. He was the voice of the Twins. Super good guy. And I'm blanking out on who did the introductions at the Twins Stadium, too. He had a good voice in the Metrodome. He had some really good calls, especially because he worked, both World Series there. So we've been lucky. And actually, our radio guy just took over on broadcast this year. So
Corey?
Yeah.
Corey Probst?
Yep.
Corey
Came through Milwaukee, learned at the feet of Bob Uecker.
I was about to say he went through the Uecker School of Broadcasting.
Yes.
As Will sang, met T-Mac after a VCU game.
Good dude.
Yeah, he seems awesome. Harry Callis, legendary. High hopes for baseball road tripper as long as. Oh, the shots fired at Anthony Edwards too. I actually like Anthony Edwards. He says some crazy things sometimes, but
Here's
he's
our
just
matchup.
entertaining to watch.
Here's our matchup.
Yup, it's Aaron Judge and Paul Skenes, the matchup we've been waiting for.
I would say that the Timberwolves are ready to meet the Sixers in the finals, but I don't think the Sixers can get there. They usually choke before then.
I'm not even gonna argue with you on that. I am the first one to say, and I've
That was for Nick.
Yeah. But I'm gonna agree with you.
How that matchup just fizzled.
There's your Livy Dunn, Cam.
It's either going to be a strikeout on a 100-mile-an-hour plus pitch, or a moonshot into the upper deck.
Yeah,
and it just fizzles into a fielder's choice at third. Oh
man.
Just bad. I'm gonna go cry my Italian sausage. So I'll be right back.
And yes, we got 2 Livy Dunn sightings for anyone counting because we talked about that earlier. Not again, as a baseball fan, I really don't care if they show her. It doesn't make a difference in my game watching experience. But yeah.
Is she going to be the new Kate Upton of this generation for baseball hottie wife girlfriend?
I would think with the publicity she's getting, yes. Now, I will say, though, Paul Skenes deserves more publicity. He gets overshadowed, but, dude is going to be one of the superstars of this league.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you almost feel bad for him because, 1, it's Pittsburgh. 2, his girlfriend's, a bigger name than him, but then you don't feel bad because you know that next contract, they were talking about it. What was it on Baseball Today a week or so ago? They were like, $250 million for 10 years. Does he turn it down? And people were like, yeah, I think he turns it down right now because he can get a whole lot more than that if he just waits another few years.
Yeah. I mean, Skenes is I saw I forget her name, but there's a Cubs fan, and I found her on Instagram because of her screaming in her car after she went to the Brewers Cubs game where the Brewers hit a grand slam. And she was saying she's after Skenes almost no-hit the Brewers. Well, he did no-hit the Brewers, and then they brought another guy in. Saying, get him out of this division. Just get him out of the division. Just please. I'm done with this.
Just become a Yankee already?
Yeah, exactly. I would love if he wants to come to Milwaukee. Sounds like good. I'd give up. I told my dad the other day, I said, I would literally give them all top 30 of our prospects. I'd just ship the farm away. Give me him and Brian Reynolds, and I'll give you the whole farm.
Just skip having a AAA team for the next 3 years, and you're fine?
Although that is the line I always like to say. I always like to say sign. I like to say sign with Gene Segura, and I just name all these random former Brewers. And I say, do it to win the AAA World Series. That's my goal, is to win a championship there in Nashville. So Nick saying Joel Embiid beats Cat, Maxey better than Ant-Man, argue with a brick wall.
I mean, if we want to go individual players, I guess he could make these hypothetical arguments, but let's just look at how the team is done. And
yeah, my thing is
underperforming.
For the Wolves to win a finals, though, they for sure do need an extra superstar. They need an addition there.
I don't mind them trying to get rid of Karl Anthony Towns if that means that they actually land someone bigger and who can show up in the big moments.
Yeah,
I'm all about it.
For the Sixers, it's not a talent issue. No. It's a ownership issue, and it's a front office issue.
Well, there's Anthony. you still have to remember to trust the process.
See, I'm done. I'm done with we
No,
need to stop. We need to stop trusting the process, people.
But that's the great thing about it is that when you say that and you know that you're always going to have turnover, the process never ends.
Yeah. As Bryce Harper grounds out to Gunnar Henderson.
Which, if you talk about a team very close to you, a team close to Philly that is in baseball that has, I think, trusted the process, that's the Baltimore Orioles. They've really rebuilt that and had a youth movement. You see it with all their all-stars, especially their infield and stuff. And then they sign a big name like Corbin Burns, who really isn't that old either. Steal him from your Milwaukee Brewers. I mean,
not that I'm mad with that trade. That's actually turned out pretty decent for the Brewers. We got Joey Ortiz out of that.
Yep.
As Alec Boehm there flies out to center field.
And who is pitching but Aaron Johnson's Tarek Skubal.
Yeah. And he was, if we were going to talk about the AL Cy Young at some point, I had my notes ready. I talked about how the difference, as you see Aaron there in the background on the card there, as well as the great Yost next to her card there. But with the Burns and Skubal, who's going to win the Cy Young? They have a literal 0.2 difference in ERA. I think it's going to be Burns, but who knows?
Maybe, but I also think that if the Orioles can clinch earlier, they might be in a position where they can rest him the final few starts. So maybe he pitches a little bit fewer innings, and then it really just comes down to which guy has a blow-up game that really hurts their numbers the most. And I don't know, because I feel like if Skubal has a blow-up game, usually that's because of the Tigers' defense, and those numbers aren't going to hurt because it's unearned runs. So I think it's a little bit easier for him. Plus, usually people that vote for it don't necessarily vote based on wins. We've seen some less than stellar performances out of Jacob deGrom with the Mets back in the day, where he gets a dozen wins, but he still takes it. So I think that they might throw the Tigers a bone and give Skubal that hardware, because I don't think they're going to get much hardware other than that for the next few years.
Yeah. The other question is, will Burns stay with Baltimore? He's a free agent after this year. Is he going to go? Because I think Cal Ripken and his ownership group are going to be willing to pony up the money. The question is, will Burns get more money from New York or LA, or maybe
does he want to go there too?
Yeah, or maybe he reunites with David Stearns and with the Mets, his old GM. Like, who knows what happens there?
That might be the first big test for the new Orioles ownership, because they've said that they're going to open up the pocketbooks, and that might be their first big name that they can kind of test that theory with.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Cody asking our thoughts on the All-Star Game jerseys. We talked about this earlier. Not good. Not good at all. I don't think that they are very I'll put it this way. They're the last All-Star Game hat I bought was the Brewers one in San Diego. That was mine, as we're seeing baseball road trippers right there.
That San Diego game?
I
think that's the when they
is
had
is that 16?
Yep.
Yeah, it's the same one. Yeah. As Nick asking, thoughts on Gary? Yeah, we're winning the chip this year, Nick. You already know. Gary Trent Jr., 38.6 shooting from three recently. Back court with Dame is going to be electric. We got the shooter now that we've been waiting for. Now we just got to pay. Now we got to trade I know, Will, I'm sorry, cover your ears. We got to trade Pat Connaughton, your Notre Dame guy, and try to get a good sixth man and then win the finals.
You want to hear something bold?
Go ahead.
I know who's going to be the MVP next year in the NBA.
Who's it going to be?
Bronny James.
I was actually going to bring that up when we were talking about Paul Skenes and Livy Dunn. The only person to make more NIL money than Livy Dunn is Bronny James. I find that stat, like, the fact that those are the top two all time,
and honestly, it makes you wonder why he even joined the Lakers. I know that his dad wanted to play with his son.
Yeah.
But he would have made more money staying in college.
Yup. That's the thing. As we see Alec Boehm, Trey Turner, and Bryce Harper being interviewed at the same time. It looks like they all have earpieces. I love this. I love this this Phillies trio of guys. And Nick saying, if y'all win the finals, I will buy a Dame jersey, a Bucks hat, and create a shrine.
How about the T-Wolves? Does that go for them too?
Nick, why would you buy a Dame jersey when you should buy a Giannis shirt? Actually, I don't know if he has a Giannis jersey. If he doesn't, though. So, Nick, I know your mom has talked about how much she loves Giannis. So, why don't just go ahead and get a Giannis jersey just for the fun of it?
And if the T-Wolves win, he has to get an Ant-Man.
So let's talk about, as Jose Ramirez sends one to center field there, providing. Okay, so you used to have a Giannis jersey, providing the first out of the inning. A former Timberwolf and a former Buck, Pat Bev, signing with the Israeli League. I'm so glad we have him. What'd you say?
Is that final now?
According to sources, aka himself, because it came from his podcast, X account, I guess, and Instagram as well. He is going to be signing with the Tel Aviv team.
Wow.
So I'm glad he's not on the Bucks, because after his blow up at the end of the playoffs last year, I did not want him back. When he threw basketballs into the crowd at fans, I didn't think that was very classy.
Yeah.
Not doing it the Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers is a Marquette guy. He tries to be classy. So as we get a beautiful play by Mr. Trey Turner, making that sliding.
Yeah, Pat Bev has played for all three of our teams, huh?
Yeah. And he's played with Houston, the Clippers. He's been all over the place. But at the same time, I feel like there's a reason he didn't get signed by an NBA team. I thought that there was for sure a reason behind that one. As Max Fried, by the way, your boy Trevor Plouffe was the one who actually announced, I guess, leaked the info that Max Fried would be the second inning guy. He just said that on Baseball Today nonchalantly.
Wow.
Yeah. So, one thing that I've been disappointed about is that we haven't gotten Baseball Today live this week.
Yeah.
I like the live streams, as it is the end of the second inning. I seen you in the chat in there before.
Yeah. And a couple times getting a shout out by Plouffe or Rosie, so that feels good. So
nice, yeah. The two best baseball shows I see on YouTube are that and Foul Territory with Scott Braun, AJ Przinsky, and the great Eric Kratz, a 2018 Brewers legend. That's one of those guys like on that team, like Eric Kratz, Jonathan Scope, Curtis Granderson. Like, there are a lot of random guys on that team. And who else? Manny Pena. I'm trying to think of
the pineapple.
Yeah, the pie. Yeah, that was. I remember it was like late in the game in the 2018 NLDS game, one that I was at when Moustakas walked it off, And there's one guy who just yelled, Manny, and everyone yelled Pina, and it was just responding back and forth. Manny, Pina. It was one of those Brewers playoff moments that were so fun in the crowd. And the Brewers fans usually aren't super loud. It's funny how we were outside of Fenway Memorial Day weekend, and I said to my dad, I said, none of our fans are ever loud. I wish that they're a little bit more vocal and cheered more and like chanted and stuff. And literally the second I say that, a guy walks up to us, doesn't know who he is, doesn't know who I am, anything. And he goes up to him and he's like, hey man, how you doing? Where are you from in Wisconsin? Blah, blah, blah. Like the just classic Midwest stereotype.
Yep.
And just keeps talking to us. I'm like, either the Brewers fans are super quiet or they're just over friendly.
We're ridiculously friendly.
Yeah.
I will never say over friendly, but ridiculously friendly.
Yeah.
We'd rather enjoy conversation. We'd rather enjoy building friendships than et cetera, et cetera.
But as Nick's saying, yeah. And the other guy on foul territory I like is Todd Frazier.
Oh, yeah.
When they get Todd Frazier on there, those are I was like, if YouTube was to go back to doing MLB afternoon games, they should just use Scott Braun, AJ Przinsky, and Todd Frazier as your crew. You don't have to get that simple. Just use people on YouTube and then have Chris Rose and Trevor Plouffe do pregame and postgame.
Yep.
I mean, that would be the perfect YouTube stream because you have all the top baseball people doing something together.
All right. What was that?
The window closing?
No, the window just opened by itself.
Oh, you might want to look at that.
Yeah.
That is odd. As a ball there to Jerkson Profar. He's batting 305, another 300 batter this season.
Okay, it's secure.
Okay. And he gets on base there. That'll be at least 2 batters.
Okay.
Oh, no, it won't be because it took a crazy bounce.
Yes.
So, quick question for you. Want to play a game?
Sure.
Hall of Fame or not? And I just sent over the rosters for the All-Star game here. I wanted to see if you thought how many future Hall of Famers are there in this All-Star game. So,
Okay.
Adley Rutschman.
It's very early in his career. If he keeps on the pace he's at, Hall of Famer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I would say too early. So, yeah. Vladimir Guerrero.
No.
Agreed.
I don't think he gets there.
Semyon.
No.
I don't think so.
I'll defer to him on most of these.
Jose Ramirez. I think so. Gunnar Henderson, again, too early.
Too young.
Aaron Judge.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely on pace.
Juan Soto. I think that's another yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stephen Kwan. No.
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 Jordan Alvarez.
Jordan. I'm gonna go no. Maybe. I don't know. He's also another guy that doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah.
I feel like he gets overshadowed as well.
So then Salvador Perez.
Yes.
I would probably agree. Let's see. A lot of these guys.
As Ohtani just sent one
Oh.
flying 3-0 National League.
Goodbye.
As Ohtani sends one into the right field stands off of Tanner House.
The other noteworthy thing about the home run is that someone turned around wearing a Yelich jersey in the Brew City blue. Love it.
Nice.
But yes, that thing flew to Fort Worth.
Okay.
That was an explosion.
Oh, yeah.
I think that direction is actually Dallas.
Okay, where were we?
So the reserves, it is the next three, I think, are no. Josh Naylor, Isaac Paredes, and Willie Castro. But then we got Corey Seager, which he's borderline, I would say.
Yeah. I think I'd put him in that same category as Guerrero, but a little bit above him.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Jordan Westberg, super young still. Bobby Witt Jr., I think still too young, but on a good trajectory.
I'd agree with that.
Jaron Duran, Riley Green, Anthony Santander, and David Fry. None of those.
Unless Santander keeps on this homer pace for the rest of his career. Unless he can do that for what if he hits so he's probably on pace for what 50s I'd say.
Yeah, so if he just hits like a 400 home runs more, he'll be fine, right?
Yeah, so if he can do that for like 8 more years, then yeah, but I don't expect that happening.
Then we got. I'm going to go through the starting pitchers and say that the ones that might make sense, I'll pick the top two. We got Corbin Burns, which he would need to keep things up. And then Tarek Skubal, young, but again, keep things up. Is that fair? Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Apologies here, folks. I think we are under some technical difficulties. So let's still continue with this game. And Aiden, I need you to tell me a story. And how about this? Who is a minor league guy that you have seen this year that you think will be in the All-Star game next year? I will wait just a little bit here. Ooh, I agree, JJ. Francisco Lindor, he's had a heck of a year. He's one of the top leaders in WAR in the league right now. He's definitely, I think, probably a top 20 guy in the league right now. Any other All-Star snubs that you guys can think of? I know that it's a little bit sad that the Twins really only have Willie Castro right now. We were supposed to have Carlos Correa, but he got hurt. So another plantar fasciitis, I believe. Last year it was the 1 foot and it got really bad. And this year he started feeling it. And he decided to take this off as a break and not let things get as far as it did last year. And I'm sure everyone in the chat is just going to love me bringing up Carlos Correa because, yeah, he's not controversial at all, right? We all love him. Ooh, Aiden, good call. I can see Dominguez, the alien, I think, especially being highlighted on a New York team really helps. And then Ben Rice, I don't know much about him, so I kind of want to take a look into that. And looking at the chat here too, we got John Michael Bertrand pitch for the Flying Squirrels. Okay. And Jake Irvin got snubbed. Let me look at Jake Irvin's stats. This is fun. We got 3.49. Okay.
Okay, I think we are back here.
There you go. You are
So
back.
our power went out. So the reason the window opened was, I guess it's really windy. And then our power went out. It came back on within a second, but it took a couple minutes for to reboot here. So great job filling in, hosting. You can see my thoughts on Correa right there. That's my guess. But yeah, Logan Webb, a 3.47 ERA, 7-7 record on the year.
And it's funny because we were just talking about all-star snubs, and someone mentioned Jake Irvin, and I'm looking at Jake Irvin's stats. They're almost the exact same as Logan Webb.
Yeah, no, Irvin's been phenomenal. The Brewers rocked him a little bit the other on Sunday, which honestly surprised me. But yeah.
Fantastic job filling in as guest host, by the way, while we had technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of when I was a guest pregame host for Bob Uecker in 2004 during a spring training game. So, fantastic job.
Okay, let me get this set up.
And for all you short kings out there, this is perfect right now. Paul Skenes getting interviewed by the shortest in the game.
Yes.
Shout out Ken Rosenthal. As RTV seems to be having some little bit of the Philly captain references from Aiden Tempesta and Correa is a grumpy Gus. The Philly captain and Eddie Perez have this beef, but there's actually not really beef. They're actually cool with each other. So,
yeah, I would definitely put Ken Rosenthal in the all-time short people Hall of Fame to go with Muggsy Bogues, Melissa Etheridge, and Darren Sproles.
That's a really good Mount Rushmore of short people.
Love it.
Wow.
Love it. Who would it be on the field in baseball, though?
There's also lightning in our area.
Yes.
I just got a notification.
We have like 50, 60 mile an hour winds going right now.
Ooh.
Jose Altuve and Kirby Puckett. Those would be my two short kings.
Makes sense.
Altuve, not my favorite person on earth. But yeah.
It's all right. We gained viewers.
I must say we gained viewers. It is always brotherly love in Philadelphia when Zach Campbell's around now.
Yes.
Gained viewers because people wanted to see the car wreck that was right here.
You just compared yourself to NASCAR, dude.
Boogity, 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 boys. Let's go racing. I don't know if you commented on my all-star snubs, but Terang, Ortiz, Hudson, and McGill were my four guys who I thought for sure Terang and Ortiz. Like that is without a doubt. I don't know how those guys didn't get in there.
All right. I have, by the way, an all-star home run derby from the past, or one could have been a home run derby from the past that could compete with 1957. And tell me if you think, because we got a single going through past second for the first run for the AL.
And 2 runs.
2 runs coming in. 3-2 game. Tell me if you think this tops our 1957 list. This is not in alphabetical order. 1971.
Ooh.
Willie Mays. Hank Aaron. Willie Stargell. Willie McCovey. Johnny Bench. Pivot to the AL. Frank Robinson. Reggie Jackson, and Harmon Killebrew.
It's pretty solid.
Dang.
So, Tony, though, continue with your AL Hall of Fame or not thing.
Ooh, okay. Let me go back to
Or
this.
I still have the thing pulled up if you want me to.
So I think the starting pitchers that I left off with that would be in consideration would be Corbin Burns and Tarek Skubal. Again, both are too young to fully kind of extrapolate,
Yeah.
but I think those are
Crochet's
probably
also really young.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
I think those are the best shots. But yeah, like you said, Crochet, especially depending on which team he goes to, could really boost him. Relief pitchers.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's any relievers that would make the cut? Because that's really hard to make a Hall of Fame as a reliever.
If Clase in the coming years has the same ERA he does right now at like 0.6 something, then yeah. And Mason Miller obviously has potential. But those are the only two guys that I would say there.
And then at the unavailable position, we got Altuve, Correa, Devers, I guess Logan Gilbert, but Kyle Tucker. I would say Jose Altuve is on that track. Obviously, he's almost guaranteed himself, depending on how they treat the Astros. And then Correa, if this is the Carlos Correa that he should be this year, and he keeps that up for the rest of the contract, I think he won't be able to.
Yeah. Devers.
Yeah. I feel like he's one of those guys that he's going to put up together another 3-4 good years and then just kind of fall off.
Yeah, and then Kyle Tucker again, an guy, like who knows what he does.
Yep.
And
National League. What was that?
30,000-foot view on the question. I wonder if because of the fact that we've got 30 teams in Major League Baseball now, that so many guys that you could see getting Hall of Fame numbers and Hall of Fame level performance don't get in because there's such a huge contingent of those who theoretically would have a shot.
Yeah.
So fewer get in comparison to the number of players playing today compared to how it was in the past.
Yeah. And I'm guessing we'll see fewer pitchers just because they're not hitting those kind of automatic entry like the 300 wins or even 3,000 strikeouts. But probably more batters just because they have the opportunity now, more DHing. They can prolong their careers a little bit more, put up bigger numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And on top of that, isn't that kind of the good thing about having these controversies is that we can kind of selectively say, like, with the steroid guys, that eliminates a bunch of the list. Potentially when the Astros retire, if their cheating was determined to be that bad, well, that eliminates a lot of guys off the list. So it's actually kind of a blessing to have controversies.
Tie game.
Yes, tied at 3 now. Okay, well, here's the question that I'll ask. If we're going to get on the 17 Astros, then what do we do about the 18 Red Sox? Any guys from that team? Right? That's the question that you ask. And I'll also say, as uneducated sports talk, appreciate the raid, showing love to the channel. Appreciate the shout out there. But I feel like if they could have found out the guys who were actively doing the cheating and who were involved in that, we know that there was a veteran. We know that there was a veteran player that was involved. We know that. It seems like most people were assuming that was Beltran. That felt like the assumption from that. But other than that, who knows? Those guys, I feel like, should have been banned from baseball and shouldn't have been able to step foot on the field. And I think everyone else should have received some sort of punishment on that roster. Some sort of suspension or something, at least. Just to be like, yeah, we're not going to tolerate this. But Rob Manfred, he just won't do it. He's a bad commissioner.
But the tough part is that it likely was something that was rampant in baseball, and we really are going to come down the hardest on the teams that win the most, and especially that win it all. I mean, if the same cheating was being done by a last place team, are we really going to hold that against them the same way? We're probably going to be like, you guys were terrible.
That's what I
All
said.
right.
There were rumors that the Rockies tried to cheat against the Brewers in the playoffs, but there are also rumors that the Brewers were cheating, the Dodgers were cheating. People were just throwing that out there. But my thing about the Rockies trying to cheat against the Brewers that I'm like, oh, well, that worked really well. You guys got swept. That was a great. I was like, if you guys were cheating against us, it wasn't. But that's the thing about the steroid era too, is there were guys who were doing it who just never got caught. Right.
There were guys who also were doing it that just didn't even make it to the pros because they weren't good too. So like, it's not excusing either thing in any way, but baseball's so hard that you still have to have some good skill in order to put bat on ball, even if you know what type of ball is coming.
Yeah.
Right.
As our scoreboard of 3 threes ends as we head to the top of the 4th in Arlington. But yeah.
Now, thought about this. For those traveling to Arlington, because you've done it. What do people need to think about in terms of getting there to the stadium? Say if they're staying in Dallas or they're staying in Fort Worth or staying anywhere, for example, near the airport where you got a lot of hotels.
It is a very big area. It's very populous. And just like anything in Texas, it's big. It's very similar to Houston, where I saw someone that had a Houston meme. They're like, did you know that it takes 2 hours to drive from Houston to Houston? And they showed it on opposite sides of Houston. And
I thought it was that 9 minutes. Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. But if you're going to do it, honestly, being close to the airport is probably best because the airport is really close to Arlington. It's in the middle of Dallas and Fort Worth. Stay there. There's also I think it's Six Flags or one of those theme parks there that's right by the baseball park. It's got everything you need. And if you want to, you can take a day trip right over to Dallas first. But yeah, just stay. It's cheap enough to stay close to the baseball stadium.
Are you able to get like shuttles or public transit?
Public transit, not so much. I'm trying to think. You're probably going to be Uber if you're going to do anything down there. They do have some buses, but that, depending on where you want to go, it's not the most direct. It's not that long of a drive from the airport to the baseball stadium. So an Uber is probably your best bet, cheap and quick.
Yeah. Yeah. As Aiden, the fact that during the NLCS, you had at one time the Flyers home opener, a Phillies NLCS game, and who was it? It was Mexico against Germany?
Yep, Mexico, Germany at the link.
Yeah. all at once, at the exact same time, using the exact same parking lots. It was an absolute mess, to say the least. The one. Sorry, go ahead.
Definitely don't go there when there's a Cowboys game going on because it's so close. Jerry's World takes over that place. Probably really good to get cheap tickets to a Rangers game, but good luck finding parking.
Yeah.
Oh, I also put out there on Threads this week that Amtrak is considering installing a New York to Dallas direct train line, which obviously would go through Philly, as Christian Yelich is up. And I mentioned that fact, hey, Eagles fan train. That has been my most viewed thread ever.
Oh.
The Eagles fans wanting to take over the train and take over the trip to Dallas.
Oh, man. Could you imagine that party train?
Oh,
man. So with Christian Yelich up, this was, I think, the one guy as a Bruce fan that I want to talk about more than any on whether he's a Hall of Famer or not. He has the MVP. He has close to a second one. Obviously, this has been a huge comeback year for him, with his OPS being his average higher than Ohtani, I think, and his OPS being only second to Ohtani in the NL.
Let's see. So I'm looking at him. So he'll be 33 at the beginning of next year.
Yeah, he's under contract until I want to say like 2030.
And he's already got 42 WAR. It's so tough. I almost view him like, not saying that they've had the same career up until now, but a very similar type of player to Cody Bellinger, where you don't know which version you're going to get of him the rest of his career.
Yeah.
And if he even does like an average Christian Yelich year for the next 5 years, he could make it. But if he slumps again for another couple years, man,
I think he's got to win, or at least very heavily compete for another MVP and or win a World Series.
yeah.
He's the leader of it.
I said this before. If there's a year for the Brewers to win the World Series, it's this year. I think they should go all in this year, because once you get past the Phillies, I think you're right. Like, if the Phillies just go cold like they did last year, if they can beat the Dodgers, who have obviously choked in the playoffs year after year, you're probably the NL champs.
You're probably the World Series champ.
Yeah. So to see that, and this team is so different than the Craig Counsell teams, and I think this is why they'll be really good in October, is because of how mentally tough they are and how tough they are physically too, and just the general toughness. Look at how many times they've cleared the benches. Like, they just seem much more tough than those buddy Counsell teams.
So I'm looking at Yelich's kind of ratings here on Baseball Reference, and I'm not quite looking at the Hall of Fame statistics. I'm focusing more on the WAR aspect. For left fielders, he is 42nd, and the average Hall of Famer in left field, there's 21 of them. They have an average of 65 WAR in their career, so he would need about another 23 WAR. But the good news is that the average left fielder has an average of 4.8 WAR per 162 games, and Christian Yelich is 4.7. So he's right there. So the next 5 years is very crucial for his campaign.
Stay healthy, Ellie.
Yeah.
Stay healthy.
Sure. But Baseball Entrepreneur, do you agree that do you think this is the Brewers' best chance we've seen them have?
Whenever the Brewers, like I said before, are very much like the Guardians, because whenever I doubt them and think, oh, they don't have enough pitching or they don't have enough offense, they do enough. So I want to say actually no, this isn't their best chance because I think that they've had better lineups before, or at least some better starting pitching, but they're also just playing better as a cohesive team this year than any other year. So I'm torn.
Yeah. I think they'd have to make a move, though. Like, I would love to see them. The guy I would love to see them go out and get offensively is Jazz Chisholm. Just because they could use another outfielder and he brings you some versatility.
Yep.
If you don't re-sign Willy Adames, you have a guy that you could play at second base and move Terang to shortstop. Like, you have a guy who can be there, and I give up a pretty penny for him because I think he adds enough offense, especially the Brewers struggle against lefties, and Jazz Chisholm hits lefties better than he does righties.
Well, plus you guys have a bit of a surplus here in your farm system, so you built it up enough where you can trade guys and use them as leverage. So that's big.
Yeah, and I think the other guy I would look at is I would go to the Angels and see if they could trade for Tyler Anderson.
Middle fourth.
Yeah. Because I think they need an ace if they want to win the World Series.
You don't think they can get Crochet?
So I like Crochet. Here's the issue with Crochet. The Brewers here are looking right now. They need a guy who can provide quality innings in the second half of the year, who can boost them to maybe that 2 seed, so they would have home field advantage in a DS, which would be crucial against the Dodgers because the Brewers have always struggled at Dodger Stadium. The idea being that Crochet is going to hit his innings limit soon and is going to have to be moved to the bullpen for the second half of the year, and then ramp back up for the playoffs. We've never seen it done with the MLB team where he ramps back up before. We've never seen anything like that in recent history. So it's a little bit of a concern for me, a little bit too risky. The way
I mean, even if Max Scherzer can't do it, then it's hard to say, oh, Garrett Crochet can.
Yeah, it's a very risky thing. Crochet in future years, awesome. But I'm just worried about this being – the other thing about this being the Brewers' best chance is how small the field is this year. For true – like in the NL, I don't see the Braves as a real contender unless they make a big move because they lost Strider and Acuna.
Because they showed a graphic. You have 12 teams within 3.5 games of a playoff spot in the National League.
Yeah.
But what that's proving is that it's a top-heavy
Yeah.
National League with a lot of mediocre teams besides.
Exactly. So if the Brewers can, it feels like the top 3 teams, I don't think there's a doubt that those top 3 teams are going to be in the DS. I don't think anyone's getting knocked out in the wild card.
Oh, and by the way, Baseball Road Tripper, the Twins will win a playoff game this
Yes, I said that. Because when I had them losing to the Yankees in 3, but they win the playoff again.
And you know what? I don't even need them to definitely win a game. I only need them to definitely win a game if it's against the Yankees. That's all.
That's fair.
I could see them taking one at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. If it's in Minnesota, then I'll give them a better chance to win the series. But at Yankee Stadium is a... See, Will, this is my thing about the Mets. It's like every year towards the end of the season, they just collapse. They're one of those teams that I just can't trust. It's like the Yankees in the playoffs. I just can't trust them. Because I feel like the Mets are similar to the Cardinals. I don't think they're going to be able to keep this up the whole year.
But honestly, it's a huge win. If they go 500 this year, that is a huge leap forward for the Mets. And especially because they started behind the 8 ball that first month, 2 months of the season. It was bad. Yeah.
I think, though, what you talked about with the Cardinals plateauing, I think that in the second half they are going to go down. And I don't know what happens as it is a 1-1 count to Guerrero here on our screen.
I think Vlad's bat is about to take a journey because We actually moved back to the Sling feed.
Just to make sure that our connection would be better.
Right. In the midst of the storm.
Yeah.
So where's Vlad gonna go?
I don't know. I have a list of guys who I could see getting traded.
And would you want him in Milwaukee? Could you imagine him basically being a new Prince Fielder there?
Everyday first baseman, I don't see it. We just signed Rhys Hoskins, obviously, to a 1-1. Jake Bauers is a great fielder. I think this is what I think is actually going to end up happening. I think Rhys's contract is going to end, and the Brewers are going to call up Blake Burke, who we drafted in the second round from Tennessee. I think he's going to be our next first baseman. He led the country in doubles this past season. I think he ends up being that guy. Let me pull up my list here. I think this is it.
To tell you where my brain goes when I hear the word Tennessee, it's either your app and then streaming the word Tennessee, or it is the Fugees.
Oh, wow.
Tennessee.
When I think of Tennessee, I think of Dolly singing Rocky.
Of course.
That's my immediate thought. I think Vlad could go, if I look here at the MLB standings. Let me pull it up here.
And this is a guy who's pitching that you guys have seen a few times, right? Shota?
Yep, Imanaga, the Brewers absolutely rocked him during that Memorial Day series.
Unfortunately,
I would love to go to Buc-ee's.
Go ahead.
Just went to a Buc-ee's down in, I think that was just past the Tennessee border into Alabama.
Nice. That was, so you drove down to Alabama, is that correct?
Well, flew into Nashville and then drove from Nashville down to Birmingham.
Okay. Let's see.
So contenders through the league that Vlad could go to. Okay, so the Phillies have Bryce Harper. That's a no. The Guardians, they have Naylor. I don't really see them being big spenders at the same time. Baltimore, they have Mountcastle. The Yankees, I don't see them trading in division. The Dodgers have Freddie. The Brewers, as I said, Hoskins. Minnesota is the next team up on the standings.
There's been some scuttlebutt about trying to go after Vlad, but I just, as nice as that would be to have as a piece, I think we still need to shore up having, dominant pitching, because without that, you're not going to get past a 3-card series or 3-game series, let alone a 7-game series. So,
yeah, that's the one thing I said about Pittsburgh, talking about a 3-game series. I would be terrified to play Pittsburgh in the wild card. After the wild card, I feel really confident.
Yeah.
But to have to face their 3 guys, that feels like a scary idea. Who knows? I don't think they'll make the playoffs.
No.
But you wouldn't want to face them in future years. After that, Atlanta's a no because of
Olsen,
yeah. After that, it's the Red Sox.
I suppose.
They're not going to trade in division, I don't think.
No, but they would be much more likely to trade there than with the Yankees.
Yeah, and then the last 2 teams I would consider real contenders, Kansas City.
They got Vinny. He's supposed to be the future. You also got DH covered with your Salvador Perez taking some time there, along with MJ Melendez, who's outfield DH. So it would be an upgrade for them, but I just think that they're a little bit shored up right now.
And then Seattle.
Seattle makes a lot of sense, but they also haven't been one to really make big splashes.
Yeah. And then after that, St. Louis, I don't see doing much. Houston?
I was just going to say, if there's a team who likes to shake things up and they just got rid of Jose Abreu, I think, Vlad's a little bit better than that option.
And then the other team is Semien. Hits a line
nice
drive
catch.
to Profar, who gets it in the left. The last team, I'd say, is the Padres. AJ Prowler is always willing to go out and make a move. Who's their first baseman? Cronenworth?
Think so.
Yeah, so I don't think they do that. And then if the Giants want to try to resurrect their season, I guess they could make that move, but I don't know. I will let you guys keep talking. I will be right back.
All right, deal. We got a comment from Will talking about Bonnaroo. I know that you are a concert and festival goer, baseball road tripper. Where does Bonnaroo rank, and sort of what would be its sports equivalent?
Ooh. So there's two things I want to say. First, I've never been to Bonnaroo, and it looks like it'd be amazing. It's kind of up there with Coachella as far as, those are the big 1-2 punch of big concerts in the U.S. because we don't have a lot of festivals, but those are the big two. There's another place in Tennessee not far away from there that I really want to go to, and that's called the Caverns. And it's literally inside of a cave where bands can perform and stuff, and it looks
sweet,
amazing. So that's high up on my list. After I went to Red Rocks, Caverns was number 2 on my list. But I would say as far as festivals go, if I were to compare it to a stadium, ooh.
Or like a sporting event.
Yeah. Sporting events, I think that Coachella would be the all-star game because it's full of the biggest names and it's star-studded. While Bonnaroo might be at this point, it might actually be the Home Run Derby because I think that Bonnaroo has a little bit more indie flair. It has some undiscovered people that end up making a name later on, and that's kind of what Home Run Derby has kind of gone to now, where it's not your big name hitters, but it's younger guys. So, yeah.
I figured out a trip for you if you next time you come out to this neck of the woods. And I think we may have to involve our pal Samovi, who we featured in our latest video on our channel, that unboxing video, with what she gave Anthony in terms of some awesome baseball cards.
That was cool.
Still sifting through. But check this out. At a distance of 2 hours and 8 minutes between each other are the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, as we now start the top of the 5th, and I'm going to have a kid update the graphic because I don't know how to update the graphic, but fly out to left field for the first out. The Baseball Hall of Fame on the sites of Woodstock.
Ooh.
2 hour, 8 minute distance between each other. About 3 hours and change north of our home.
That would be cool.
I sense a road trip. We're going to have to educate the kid on Woodstock because he's not as dived into music as you, I, and definitely Samovi are. But, oh yeah. I know you've been to Cooperstown. I believe so, right?
Yes. Yep.
This will be our first time.
And I'm just wondering, do they still have the Rolling Rocks festival at all?
Let me look it up.
Because I know that's a Pennsylvania thing.
Yeah, the Philadelphia Folk Festival has returned. It is massive, and like a ton of top acts perform there. but I'll look up the Rolling Rock Festival.
Rolling Rock Town Fair. Looks like it's still, I think, going on. Yeah. It's 2000.
Was.
I know that they've had a lot more of the kind of the hard rock type of festival since I was in high school.
I'm not seeing as much of it.
Oh.
It's not a pure show.
No.
It's not a pure
It
show.
was an annual festival. Oh. Bummer.
Darn.
Rolling Rocks.
2 outs now as Trey Turner's up. Road trip out here. Head up to those 2 spots, and I believe we may even have access, not to something that we individually own. And by the way, us talking about this stuff means we have 0 viewers now watching. They want the kid, not dad. But we may have access to a specialized bus that we would have to take, which would be very apropos.
Wow.
For going to what?
Wow. I've heard that the town of Woodstock itself has become a pretty quaint kind of hippie town and looks really nice.
It is. You still have a huge artist community there, just because they've always had a good artist community.
Yep.
Even before Woodstock. And then that made it something beyond. I also think it will help to have the bus if it's comfortable temperatures and we want to sleep on it, because, well, I've looked up hotels there as it's a 1-2-3 inning. To end the 5th, we're going to be heading to the 5th with a 3-3 game. Hotel costs in that area.
I was just gonna say, if any of you guys are going to Cooperstown, book your hotel way ahead of time if there's anything available or at a decent price, and also be prepared to maybe stay at least a half an hour away, because oh boy, they make their money there, which good for them, because they're capitalizing on a short window of when tourists come in. But oh boy.
Yeah, exactly. Are the kids coming back?
Up. The viewership is going to go back up.
Back up.
It's going to go way down.
No, we were at 0.
No.
Oh, right.
So pretzels.
Pretzels and chocolate chips.
We've decided that we're going to take a road trip with Samovi up to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Woodstock.
All right.
So
as long as I get to go to Cooperstown, that's all I care about.
We're going to bring the soundtrack to Woodstock 69, right?
Oh, of course. Plus, Samovi may be able to play half of it herself.
Well, especially on the bus.
Yes. That's required. Aiden has never left. Always.
Anthony, have you ever, or can you play any instruments?
I can play them, not very well.
What instruments?
I know how to turn on a keyboard. I can tell you that.
Nice.
So that's about it. I can turn on a keyboard. When I was little, I used to have a harmonica. Wasn't very good with it, but that's about it. I'm not very musical.
You played the recorder. You just haven't explored your music.
Yeah, because I was forced against my will by my school to. They gave us all recorders.
You still got that hot cross buns in you?
Maybe.
Okay, good. And Jay?
I'll put it this way. Hang on.
Okay, I hope he comes back with a one-man band with his like ukulele, a little like cymbal, harmonica set up.
He's currently pulling out his keyboard.
I'm not promising this is going to be any good.
Oh, please tell me you're gonna do round ball rock. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it.
Apparently, that might be used in some of NBC's Olympic coverage this year. So
John Tesh has
I'm
to
sure
make
to
that
see
money.
what that looks like.
How much money do you think that
Yeah.
Tesh has gotten from that?
Oh. There we go.
Asking you shower save.
And the AL hits an absolute nuke to deep center field, but it's got. Oh,
Are you not entertained here, folks? Oh,
Hold
does
on,
that
give
mean
me one moment here. I will
can
be
you
right
do
back.
7th inning
I
stretch?
need to see if I can do something very quickly. Hold on.
Oh, Bub. Okay.
Yup. Okay, here we go. Hold on one moment here as I try to get us a better view here.
Corey Seager, the hometown guy, comes up 5 feet short.
Okay, let me figure out how I flip my camera.
That's about all I got in the song.
Okay, well, let's get a.
I'll give you one more.
Okay,
we now have.
if I can.
What's he doing?
Hold on.
Uh-oh, you might want to mute one.
Okay.
Echo!
Yeah, let me.
Let me mute it. Okay, we're good now. Okay, folks. We have now a camera. Okay, give us your best song.
Come on, piano man.
Alright.
This is scary, folks.
Can you do the theme to Cheers?
What's that?
He asked for the theme to Cheers.
Oh my god. Don't ask me to.
Where everybody knows
Uh-oh.
your name.
AL takes the lead.
All right, I'm being a bad luck charm for the NL, so let's.
Wow. You're on mute.
A rendition of some beautiful songs by the one and the only Jay Sorcy.
That means, folks,
True.
that means that we can actually have our own 7th inning stretch here on Sorgy Stories.
I don't trust him to do all take me out to the ball game.
Well, I'm going to be in bed by that point because I got to get up at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. So, yeah, I'm probably calling it a night after this at bat.
I think my dog wants me to at least take a time out for a little bit because she is crossing her legs and being angry with me.
As that thing is out of here. 5-3.
Long gone.
Evie, you're on.
Long gone.
Uh-oh.
Kid in a Phillies throwback jersey, I think, got the ball.
That's cool.
a Phillies throwback jersey, and a cowboy hat, which, by the way, was invented from a dude from South Jersey who is buried in the Philly suburbs.
Okay.
John Stetson. They call it a Stetson hat. That's why.
Is that who Stetson University is named after?
Doubt it. Otherwise, Stetson University would probably be someplace in Texas because they worship it so much.
I thought they were the Stetson Cowboys, though.
Are they? Maybe. Maybe.
Oh, no, they're the Hatters.
Huh.
They're not the Cowboys. They are the Hatters.
And that is the end of 5 with the score. The American League 5, National League 5. Notice how now on TV broadcasts, you never hear the announcers mentioning the score. It's always just shown on the graphic. And
Rely on the widget.
Yep.
Stetson University is named after John Stetson.
It is.
Yup.
It's named after the dude who invented the Stetson, who's buried here in Philly.
So it should just be like a cowboy university.
That's why they're called the Hatters, I think.
Big Glove Bob.
I know him.
Yes.
Hi, BGB.
Excellent. Excellent sighting. Happy Hodag.
What is up?
Our Midwest contingent is showing up.
Indeed, they are.
Awesome. What are your feelings on the fact that they're doing Brewers Twins and making everybody wait until Saturday for a game?
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. It gives
No
our team
bueno.
more times. It gives our team more time to rest. As we see Aaron and Yost right there.
This is for Big Glove Bob.
Mm,
His people.
stand up to cancer moment. Awesome. Both my maternal grandparents.
As we see Commissioner Manfred there.
That's awesome. And there is not a person who doesn't have a name there.
Yeah.
Not a person.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think all of us could put a list on those things.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What's a good Minnesota cancer charity?
Whew. I mean, there's always going to be Mayo Clinic. They're doing a ton of research, so that's probably the biggest one. And also Philly out there, they have a lot of research and medical centers too.
Penn Medicine is spectacular. Spectacular out here. And of course, the Wisconsin charities that I supported for so long, live it out there, the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation, and Midwest Athletes Against Childhood Cancer. Donate to all those.
Yes.
Yeah, the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation. That's the hat on all of our Packers streams that you'll see me wear. The Vince Lombardi one that he got for me. I love that hat. Great cause to support.
Yep.
And Will, I know I privately messaged you with this, but prayers go out to your family. Will lost his dad recently. So prayers going out to you all.
We are lifting you.
But yeah, so just, I mean, we see it every All-Star game, but it's such a a moment to see everyone holding up their sign.
Heavy power moment.
Yeah.
Heavy power moment. Awesome. Awesome.
But yeah.
Does the University of Minnesota have their own cancer research
Yeah.
efforts?
Yep.
Also worth it.
Yes.
Also worth.
Yeah, we're kind of spoiled here for being a smaller place in the Midwest. We got some good stuff going around between Mayo and the University of Minnesota, and I think that they're actually kind of connected too. So there's
Very
a
cool.
lot of synergy between those two.
Very cool. So, before I go, I just want to mention that you will see my face and hear my voice on a station I used to work for back in Milwaukee coming up on Tuesday. Not TMJ Radio, but the sister TV station, TMJ4, the NBC affiliate. I will be talking at 9 a.m. Central Time, or during the 9 a.m. hour, about a certain book that I wrote about an event that's going to be starting next week.
Next Friday.
International events, am I correct?
Yeah. It starts with O, ends with S, and
They're known for their medals. A certain 5 rings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Book called Greater Than the Games, about how we discerned and saw the possibility of an Olympics in Milwaukee, eastern Wisconsin, with a little bit of help from Chicago. And I will say as well, Baseball Road Tripper, there are at least a dozen markets in America that could theoretically pull it off with very little capital expenditure needed on stadium construction. And the metro area you're sitting in is probably one of them. It's most probably one of them. There will need to be some, but not dramatic.
Yep.
So go check out that book on Amazon. Watch me on TMJ4.com, 9 a.m. Central. I believe we'll be recording that interview. That way it doesn't get in what I have to do with work. But yeah, check it out. Definitely check it out. We're top 653 AL. I'm going to hand the thing off to the two of you. And any special guests you want to invite on?
Okay, and Bryce Harper launches one to left field, and
nope.
It is just short.
5 feet away, or maybe even less.
And guess who's in the chat? It's Aaron Johnson.
Aaron!
No problem, Aaron.
I'll be taking my leave as well because I got a 5 a.m. wake up. Have a great night, y'all.
Okay. You saying y'all is something I find extremely weird. He's not one to say y'all normally.
I'm married to a Southerner, and we're watching a game being played.
I say y'all, like, especially in text messages. If I'm talking to multiple people, I'll say y'all. But
I mean, being Philly, I really should say use guys.
Yeah, use guys.
That it's you guys for the North and use guys here in heavily Italian Philly. So, but I will say goodnight. Love you, kid.
Okay, tag team.
You got it.
He is heading to sleep. I don't have a alarm. Well, I do have an alarm tomorrow morning, but not that I have to wake up to. I can hit the snooze button on it. So Will Smith up to the plate for the Dodgers here in the top of the 6th. You think the Tigers trade Skubal? Because I don't see it. I don't see it happening.
I think that the Tigers trade Skubal to the Twins, and they just start emptying everyone.
That would be of help to your Twins for sure. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much Aaron would like that, but
Oh, Aaron and I already made this trade.
But yeah, so man on with one out after a hit there. A little bit of infield complication from the American League.
Aaron, are you still there?
As Aiden says, the gang's all here, as they say, and roll out the barrel. I don't know when it will come out, but I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there that this week, I can go ahead and say this. I'm not going to say exactly what, but I'm going to say I edited my first Sorgi story.
Woo!
And
Very good job.
And that is, I need to what should I do? Email that to you?
Probably.
Okay. It's done.
Or like email the link to it.
Yeah, it's done. It just needs to be ran through a couple pieces of software just to get the our shotcut editing film look. But yeah, hopefully everyone will be seeing that soon. I think it turned out decently well. I give him all the credit for making corrections.
For his, I've had 25 years of editing experience. He's had a week.
It's pretty.
He did
It's pretty
really
easy.
good job.
It's pretty. If you all know what you're doing,
Ooh.
it's close.
No, stepped on his foot.
Oh, that's not good. But I'll say that I think I've done, like, I've used editing softwares before. I just haven't done it for an actual vlog like this. So like for like Packers videos and stuff like that, I used, this is gonna sound really like basic, but I just use Canva Pro. That's okay. That's my thing. Like, just Canva Pro, and simple little thing that, and yeah. So that should be interesting to see how that turns out. Can we talk about the MLB All-Star umpires hats? They actually look pretty good. They're actually normally colored. And yeah, Aiden, Canva, I started using it for school projects a couple years ago, and I was like, oh, this is actually not that bad. It's pretty simple software, and it's not very complicated. I pay for Canva Pro. You saw like our intro, both of our intros that didn't really turn out the way I wanted them to, but still, they both use Canva Pro. And I also use it for stuff. I don't know if there will be future videos about it, maybe, but I use it to help make some MLB uniform designs. I don't know if that will end up turning into videos, but
okay.
Yeah, Canva is awesome. But yeah, okay, heading to the bottom of the sixth now. Yeah, it can be a pain, but it's simple. I like how you can download fonts. That's what I use for the intro for the font for, if I can go back in the graphics for our earlier stream, anyone who didn't see it, this graphic right here.
Nice.
Was like a custom font thing. So yeah, pretty easy to use. Shout out Canva. Other shout outs. Linktree.com/SorgyStories, as you can see. Oh, the game's not over yet. I need to go back. The game is not over.
It's not a 0-0 final?
Yeah. Yeah. Linktree.com/SorgyStories for all of our stuff. As you can see up there, courtesy to Jim Stoll for the picture of Globe Life Field in the background. StreamYard is what we use for our streaming, as you can see on all of our streams, because I don't feel like paying $25 a month just to take that thing off. What else? Baseball Road Tripper, do you want to go ahead and shout out all your socials just for the fun of it?
Yeah, the big one, I mean, obviously the YouTube channel. So having some success with the Philly video. So thank you to all the crazy Philly fans who are coming in to look at my, I would say, a little bit of a clickbaity type of title. But
what was the title?
what did I say? Let me look it up here quick. Going to my studio. It was. Are Philly fans really the worst? And it has almost 4,000 views. So
I wouldn't say that's clickbaity. I mean, you went to a Phillies game. Did you talk about the fans at all?
I showed them off a little bit, and then I showed you guys at the end, and highlighted my friend that I stayed with, and thought I said that he was nice. So I mean, I kind of showed that people were like, "Oh, Philly fans are the worst," and they can be over the top at times, but I know some pretty great ones.
Yeah, speaking of the Phillies, Christopher Sanchez on the mound, 2.96 ERA in 103.3 innings pitched, only 2 homers given up this season in 18 starts. That is quite impressive. And he starts off with a grounder that he actually records the out for there. Have we seen Elly De La Cruz in this game yet?
I don't believe so.
Oh, no, he's at third. Okay. As Will says, CJ Abrams. I personally think that Philly fans are like, I'm fine if you want to give Phillies fans crap, but you need to do the exact same thing for the Mets or for New York fans and for Boston fans.
Yeah.
It can't just be like a one-sided thing. If Sanchez pitches 0.2 innings and then heads out of the game. But that's my thing about it is I'm like, we can't, like, when I go to Citizens Bank Park in Brewers gear, I've never gotten, like, heckled or an FU or anything like that. It's very, like, the fans, they'll give us some joking crap, like, especially the super fans. They'll, like, Philly Captain said, we're stress people in the ballpark. But it was a joke, right? Yep. It's all about that kind of stuff. Mets fans at Nationals Park were nice to Will. And for the most part, they were good when we went Easter Sunday. But, I mean, just random teenagers walking by us and just saying, bleep you guys.
Yeah.
Like, and people yelling at us to sit down and shut up when we're cheering for Rhys Hoskins. It's just...
The bleacher creatures at Yankee Stadium seem like they could be some of the worst.
Yeah. So it's like most of the fans in every fan base are going to be good.
Yep. Right? And honestly, the hats that we're wearing, I've really not had many problems, if any, for either of our teams because I think we're too passive-aggressive to be in your face hating you. If anything, we're going to go home and be like, oh, those people were the worst, but we're going to keep it to ourselves.
And that is also where you, like, in person, it's a lot different than on social media when people are just screaming at each other. The way that as you probably saw if you were watching last Thursday's stream, as I know you were, there's a Pirates fan that called us a poverty franchise, and I just told him, yeah, you're right. I'm not going to argue with you. You're right. Our owner doesn't spend money, but I also said that at least our owner doesn't lie to the media like theirs does. So, like, you like the online thing, I'm like, I don't think you're actually affecting anyone by just.
And also the online stuff, it's usually the worst of the worst are commenting anyways, because I can see there are some very toxic Twins fans spots in the internet, and it's bad. But you go to a game, you're not getting those people, and if you do, they're few and far between.
Yeah, for sure. And Twins fans, obviously some of the best in baseball. Kansas City fans, I haven't been to Kaufman, but Kansas City fans, at least Yost, great. St. Louis fans, I can't even consider the Cardinals a rival anymore. I've talked about this. Where's the Brewers-Cardinals rivalry? There's no beef between the teams. and the fans are great to each other.
It's shifted entirely to just Cubs versus Brewers.
Exactly. Yeah, because like Cubs fans, invade our stadium.
And if anything, that has almost bonded you and the Cardinals more because you both hate the Cubs.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong between the Brewers and the Cardinals now. And it's like when it comes, I think the biggest thing, at least like with my dad and I, was when it was still kind of that La Russa era.
Yeah.
Like that's why I couldn't stand the White Sox when he was with them. Like, no.
Oh, and speaking of, when you do go to Kansas City, Big Glove Bob, I'm sure that if you tell him that you're going down, he would love to meet you at a game down there because that's his happy place.
Kauffman seems like a fun spot.
It
for
is.
Sure. It's one of the older stadiums, but it seems like it's really cool. I did like the new Kansas City Stadium renderings though.
Yeah.
With the view downtown. Any stadium with the downtown view, I'm on board with.
And honestly, I would actually suggest going in July and August. I know that it's the hottest, but you're going to get cheap tickets. You're going to get really good views, and you're just going to get the most experience that you can at a baseball game. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and I'd say the weather's better than Philly. I mean, we're not talking about 105 degrees feels like in Kansas City. That's one thing. Like if I could just live in Philly 9 months out of the year and then just go to Milwaukee for the summer, because Milwaukee has the perfect summer. It's just 70, 80 degrees all summer. Might hit 90.
Let's see what Kansas City's at. Because I know that they're still pretty decent right now. They're about the same as us right now. Midwest has been weird. We've actually been pretty cool and relatively. We only hit 90 for the first time this past weekend. So
wow. Will and D asking Baseball Road Tripper, have you ever been to Nats Park?
Yes, I've only been there once. That was back in 2018 or something like that. Definitely have to go back. I have a huge criticism with them, and that is you are in probably one of the most photographed cities in the U.S. with incredible monuments, and you have none of that as a sightline at your stadium, and that's really disappointing. Plus, the outside looks like all the other government buildings where it's just the gray concrete. I wanted to like Nats Park, but I don't know.
The thing about Nats Park, as I'm looking on the map, is you can't obviously have the stadium face west.
Yep.
So, in that location...
Yeah, where they had it'd be really tough. And it sucks because they're actually pretty close to the river, are they not?
They are, literally across the street from the river.
Yeah, so like that would have been the other thing if they would have faced it a little bit more south.
Yeah, they could have done a southeast
the river,
like Miller Park.
Yep.
And that's what I was talking about Miller Park to my dad. I said, if they could have built that facing northeast, you could have had a beautiful view of downtown.
Yep.
Like they missed out, and they couldn't really do it because of County Stadium set up. But I'm like, they really missed out on it. And as we talk about the NL Central, Miller
there's
Park,
your Ellie.
I have to mention my dad is not one who will spend money to go to a game for one player, but he said that Ellie De La Cruz is one of the few guys he would do that for, just to watch Ellie. He said, I think he said Ellie, Skenes, and when Shohei goes back to pitching, he'd pay the price of admission just to watch Shohei.
Ellie's just a beast. I mean, he's not what you would expect from a middle infielder with that size, with how he looks, but
he gets on base. That's what we wanted. I just need him on base to get a stolen base here.
Dang.
What would you say is I want your top 5 best stadiums in baseball and your 5 worst stadiums in baseball.
Oh, shoot. I even have a spreadsheet, but I'm trying to think if I actually have it.
I can go ahead with my list of
Yes.
the ones I've been to. So, I feel like I've been in 19 ballparks. I feel like I'm missing one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, no, I've only been to 18. Okay, so I was wrong there. Okay, so we have top 5, tied for number 1 at a 10 out of 10, Fenway, PNC, and Camden Yards as one out here in the top of the 7th. I need to change that graphic. Number 4, and I gave it a 9.4 out of 10. I went with Wrigley. And then at number 5, I went Citizens Bank Park, 9 out of 10.
Okay.
For my 5 worst of the ones I've been to, number 18 is a 2 out of 10, the Oakland Coliseum. Number 17, Guaranteed Rate Field, a 4.3 out of 10. 16, Angel Stadium, a 6.7 out of 10. 15, Progressive Field, 7.5 out of 10. 14, Chase Field, 7.7 out of 10.
I think that's fair. I did find my spreadsheet here. I've been to, if you count like the neutral and special games, I've been to 39 MLB ballparks.
Let's give a round of applause for that comment section. That's quite a feat right there.
I'm hoping next year number 40. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But stadium ranking, I have. It's going to be very similar to yours. I have number 1 Fenway Park, number 2 Oracle, number 3 Wrigley, 4 Oriole Park, and 5 Dodger Stadium.
Okay.
And then at the bottom, I'm going to eliminate inactive or special ballparks. So the worst is Oakland, then the Trop, then US Cellular, then Nationals Park, and it used to be Rogers Center, but the upgrades that they have,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to push that up. So it would be Marlins Park.
What is the worst of the special stadiums?
Worst of the special ones, the worst of the defunct ones was the Metrodome because it was just bad.
Yeah.
But the worst of the special or neutral ones was actually in Buffalo, Salem Field.
That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, it's a AAA stadium, and it showed its age. I actually thought when they played down in Dunedin, that was a little bit better.
Yeah.
So
will Sacramento be the lowest on the list? And do you have plans to go to Sacramento?
Oh, of course I have to go to Sacramento. Which that might be number 40 then, I guess. Hey, I like
that would be a weird number 40.
Yeah. I actually think that it's probably going to be better than Salem Field in Buffalo, just because I've heard that the park in Sacramento it's newer, it's gone through renovations more recently, and they're going to put some work into it. So,
okay. But will that be the worst home stadium?
It'll. Ooh. Maybe, because I can see, because Oakland, the Coliseum would drop off that list, which would mean that the Trop would be the lowest. And I really don't mind the Trop, especially for what it is. So yeah, it's probably going to be the worst next year.
On the topic of stadiums, so we've seen the Rays' new concepts of like the glass roof.
Yep.
And that's what like SoFi kind of has, is their roof. What are your thoughts, and comment section, same thing, on would you rather have a setup like that or a retractable roof?
Does it have to be in Tampa?
Anywhere. This is just a general question.
If it's anywhere, I would rather have retractable, but if it's in Tampa, then I can see where just have the glass, because with how quick the weather changes there and how often you get the storms, it's most likely going to be closed anyways.
Yeah. I think that although now this has exceptions of the cathedrals of baseball, obviously being Fenway and Wrigley, but I think that newly built stadiums should have either a glass setup or a retractable roof, because I think you should be able to see outside of the stadium.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I don't like how the Trop is so enclosed. Chase Field, I think the mistake that they made is they tried to make it feel like an outdoor ballpark inside. And with everything they put up in the outfield, they didn't let it feel open enough.
Which is funny because when I was telling you about Globe Life here,
yeah,
you are going to feel like it's both Houston and then how cavernous it is, that it's going to be like Chase.
Okay.
Because it has that really almost empty feeling, like it's just a lot of space in there, but yet, like you said, somehow it has all this huge space, but it's indoors and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, if I were the quote unquote architect of the stadium, I think I would try to use more than anything Citizens Bank Park's blueprint, but make changes to it. Like how I love its shape and how it's set up and how easy it is to get around, but I wish that they used those corners of the stadium better to create open areas.
Yeah.
And if you did that and you still kept an open outfield, you could have a retractable roof over the stadium or a glass setup.
I was just going to say, they have a lot of space even outside of the field where, like you said, you can walk around the stadium, or if you almost married that with what you have at Baltimore,
yeah,
it would be really cool because you could walk around, but then you'd also have like the village part, and that could be something really cool.
Yeah, I think Baltimore's, like, that's the thing I love about some of these open ballparks is just how much space there is, especially in the outfield. To me, an outfield is what makes the ballpark, unless it has like a super cool, like one particular feature. If you have a really good outfield setup, I think it's going to be a good ballpark. Yep. Like, I love the Banks. I love Camden Yards. Obviously, the Warehouse is great. Will and D. It's honestly a pretty simple answer. I don't think anyone wants to deal with Wisconsin 30, 40-degree April games. That's about it. And by the way, Miller Park now, with their renovations, is now fully heated. So they can host like January events there now. So that's good news because it wasn't that well heated previously. But yeah, I think the next indoor stadiums, I think ballparks should be indoors, as I said, just because of the risk of rain and snow and everything. But you need to make it feel like an outdoor experience, like a true classic ballpark. It's just hard to do that. That's the issue. As I love watching David Ortiz here, just going up to random guys on the AL bench and talking to them. This is classic Big Poppy. And by the way, congrats to the Ortiz family. Big Poppy's son drafted by the Sox today. How cool is that? Well, it's true, but here's the question that I'll pose to everyone. Would you rather have baseball outside or would you rather have baseball always?
Outside, me.
Really? Okay, so you would rather have...
I like the elements, and I also like the extremes. So I've been to baseball games, like I said before, 107 degrees down in Texas, and I've also been to baseball games here that was 34 degrees and snowing.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I know that I'm crazy and it's not good for drawing a crowd, but
I just can't stand the idea of a rainout. That's my issue. I never want to see. I want to go to a game knowing there's going to be a game.
But you also do get double headers then, though.
Exactly. I agree. Well, unless now in Milwaukee, if it's 40 degrees, then no, I don't. I want the retractable roof closed. But just because they're not gonna
Okay.
control fans.
But would you want that?
Personally, I don't. Personally, I could care less.
But would you want that happening at your Mecca where the Packers play?
No, because it's football. Football is meant to be played outdoors. That's the thing.
Well,
Football-
baseball is too.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I think, though, at the same time, that Lambeau is one of those special cases. Like, US Bank Stadium, right? They build that indoors. Like, I get it. Like, I'm okay with stadiums having retractable roofs. Now, if I were building a stadium in the Midwest for football season, I would only have the retractable roof so we can host the Super Bowl. I would just leave it open for snow games. Like, just leave it. Like, who's stopping you from doing that? The NFL's not stopping you. They don't have control over your controls unless it's a Super Bowl. So
And the new one in Buffalo, that's going to be retractable, right?
no, it's going to be outdoors.
Fully outdoors? Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good.
What they did is they actually modeled it after Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Okay.
In London, and how all the fans are covered, but
Yep.
the only thing open is the playing field.
So it should cut down on the amount of work that has to do to clear the stadium and get folks in.
Yeah. So Buffalo's one of those places where it has to be outdoors. You just.
I mean, nothing better than lake effect snow, 2 feet just coming down like crazy, and you can't really even see the game.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's great in Buffalo, and the fans asked for it to be outdoors. They asked their season ticket holders, and they said, "Let's make it outdoors." So it sucks for Buffalo that they'll never be able to do a Super Bowl, but it's also such a small market that who knows if they would have hosted one anyway.
And also, let's never say never. I mean, the NFL could just be wild enough to say, "Okay, we're going to give it to them once."
I just think after what happened in New York, where it snowed and that whole thing, I don't think they're going to go back down that road.
Well, I mean, with climate change, it is getting warmer, so
maybe we will. We'll have to see.
Or they just host it a little bit later. So the 1 year that Buffalo hosts it, they do it in June.
I do love, though, that it feels like everything is going towards the Super Bowl being President's Day weekend.
Yeah.
That's just going to be great for the country. That's just going to be awesome for everyone. Bobby Witt up here, and somehow I had it to say the top of the 9th already. I don't know how I made that error. So we're going to fix that.
And I think I'm going to have to peace here because the dog needs to get out and stuff. But
okay, well, we appreciate you joining.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, anytime. Go ahead and shout out all the links.
You know what? Just subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then everything else, go subscribe to these guys because they're going to take over the world.
Appreciate
Anthony
it.
one day is going to be announcing both MLB and NFL games, and it's going to be incredible.
Hopefully, that would be quite awesome. The pinned link in the comment section is the link to go subscribe to Baseball Road Tripper. Thank you for joining us as we head to the 7th inning stretch or the 8th inning or whatever it is. Well, this Saturday, Brewers Twins for a nice little 2-game series up at Target Field. That should be a fun I-94 series. Baseball Road Trip. Thanks for joining us here on Sorgy Stories.
Thank you. Go baseball.
Yep, go baseball for sure. As we are the last few innings of said baseball in beautiful Arlington, Texas, home of the Rangers, home of the Cowboys, home of. Is there anything else that's home of? I can't really think of anything. Six Flags, as we talked about. That's about it. So let me see what inning we're in here. 3 in here. Appreciate you all sticking around. Okay, we're heading to the top of the 8th. I thought so. I just want to make sure that I had that right. Not that the score matters. It's an exhibition game, but, still. So I just want to check this here. I got a text of some video of some lightning in our area. The great, go follow him on Instagram. What's his at? Mikey4905, I think. Is that it? Mikey. Oh, Dullboy_Mikey127. He sends me, it's not on his Instagram, but he sends me great videos of, he sent me great videos of the lightning in our area. Well, see, that I just think that's wrong. Like, if you're the best team in baseball, you should be able to have home field. Like, the Phillies in this playoff should have home field. Like, the idea of an exhibition game deciding that, I mean, that would be like if that would just be insane. I mean, it would be like if the Pro Bowl decided home field advantage for the Super Bowl if they were to play that at home. Like, well, here's how you make the game mean more. I'm going to give it to you really simply. Winning team, how many, whatever, like, let's say there's 30 guys on a team, I think. Winning team gets a huge pool of money. Each guy gets like $3 million. That is my personal proposal for the All-Star game. Just me, though. But yeah. Just to get some get the money, because if the guys get money, they'll play. But yeah. And Will, if you want to join me, I can send you the link here. If you want to hop on, if you can't, I totally get it. But if you want to hop on and join me here, I can send you the link. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any news right now. All right, let me send you the thing here. Let me find the. Okay, hopefully I have the right one. I could have the complete wrong one. Okay. And sent on Instagram. Heliot Ramos up for San Francisco. And he strikes out. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. Oh, the Budweiser Clydesdales on the field. That is awesome. So I think the plan will be we'll take a break here for this mid-inning, and then we'll have Will and Dion with us for at least the bottom of the 8th and probably the 9th if he can stick around. But yeah, we'll take a break and then have him join us for a bit here. It's that one way inside on Will Smith here. But yeah. And that is the third out of the inning. We will take a break. And on the other side, we will continue to talk some baseball. Until then, this is Salamanca by Sarah the Instrumentalist from Epidemic Sound right here on Sorgy Stories. Back here for the bottom of the eighth. And we had this guy on for the College World Series a couple weeks ago. It is our Notre Dame guy and our Nationals guy. Will.
What's up?
Watching Tanner Scott take the mound for the National League here in the bottom of the eighth. But nothing much. Got some bad weather coming through here. I don't know about down there, but
I don't
they've been
believe so. It's just been extremely hot. It was high of 99 today.
I know the heat has been insane. The last 5 or 6 days, they've been promising thunderstorms every day, and this is the first day we've actually gotten them. So good to finally get some rain in the ground with this insane heat. I think the feels like was 105 on Sunday here. Miami level. It's insane. But yeah, Anthony Santander, 24 homers. He's an absolute beast. From the O's just down the road, from kind of both of us, really. We're not too far away.
There could be an I-95 World Series again between the O's and Phils.
It would be awesome to see. And I think there'd be a lot of red in Orioles Park.
And probably some diehards, though.
The Orioles do have some diehards, but did you see that Phil's O's series during the regular season? I'd say it was 60% Phillies fans.
Yeah, I know, but they'll show up for the playoffs there.
That's true. Phillies fans can get they bought they bought tickets in Arizona even when they weren't going, just to prevent D-backs fans from showing up.
That's so
like,
cool.
They paid the $20 just to make sure a Diamondbacks fan couldn't get to
Oh my gosh.
get onto the thing. We may have someone else joining us. Okay, it looks like your co-host of the college basketball show that you do every week during college basketball season, Jackson, is going to be joining us. To, I guess, get a summer edition. I'll ask you guys your thoughts on college basketball. Because I'm intrigued, actually, to hear your thoughts on Marquette. I mean, if you want to go ahead and give them, it's fine, because I'm intrigued to see.
I think that it might help Marquette to have lower expectations this year.
I think
mean,
they
they'll
will
probably
have lower expectations. But yeah, sorry, keep going.
But I don't know. I'm just excited to see their non-conference games. That'll be fun. Going down to UD, going to
good non-con schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a good non-con slate of games. I'm just hoping we can finally beat Wisconsin with Shaka. We haven't done that yet, which has been pretty disappointing. John Jansen, our resident Cardinals fan in the building, saying, "You happy about Burns starting?" I love Corbin Burns. I have nothing against Corbin Burns. I'm happy that we traded him just because we got good return for him in Joey Ortiz. But I'm a Burns guy. I've always really liked him. And yeah, I'm happy to see he's doing well in Baltimore. He's one of my favorite non-Brewers, I guess, now. As we head to, well, it is the bottom of the eighth. I don't know. Pitching change, maybe?
It's going to be the top 9. So it's going to be the
okay, we're going top of the ninth. Okay, let me switch that graphic. So the American League, 3 outs away from winning this.
I feel like the
get
AL wins
any
every
money
time.
if you win the NL finally got the win last year for the first time in 5 years. Because I remember Craig Kimbrell closing that one out. That man cost the Phillies 2 games in the playoffs last year against the D-backs.
He got booed.
He was.
He doesn't look great for the O's either. I mean, I haven't watched like that much baseball, to be honest. But
yeah, as now our resident Braves fan joins us here. So the college basketball guys, they were on during college basketball season with us. But tonight they are our, I guess we'll say, chief baseball analysts for the bottom of the 8th and 9th innings. Jackson, thoughts on this game so far?
Oh man, it, like Will said, kind of feels like the American League's always winning these games.
Yeah. I mean, the NL had a promising start.
Yeah, they did for sure. But and then Jackson, I'll ask you exactly what I asked. Well, thoughts on Marquette basketball this year?
I hope to see them get to the Final Four next year. I want to see what happens.
Yeah, I really like Chase Ross. That's a guy that I think more people haven't talked about just because he's going into his junior year this year. But his play style is 3-pointers and dunks. He's electrifying to watch, and I think he'll get into the starting lineup for Marquette. The lineup, I think, it's going to be Ben Gold, Cam Jones.
I messed up. I'm sorry. I thought it was the top of the 9, still the bottom of the 8.
Oh, bottom. Okay, well, that's fine because it means we get Jeff Hoffman. So, shout out Phillies. Who am I missing? Cam Jones, Joplin, Gold, Mitchell, Ross, and I think that's 5, yeah. So, not losing, losing Tyler Kolak is, not fun. But Marquette also gets Sean Jones back from a torn ACL. So I was really hoping Dan Hurley would leave so he could win the conference. But I don't think that's happening. But yeah, so Jeff Hoffman in the game.
Oh, Pete's leading off.
Oh, yeah. Are you talking about the 9th or the 8th?
The 9th.
Okay, right now I have a 1-2 count, 2 outs.
What, you were
I had to
ahead of me
delay
this whole game. Well, maybe it's
So
'cause
what happened is when the storm started, we had to change it from the antenna feed to the sling feed, which is like slower than any other streaming service.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now I see that Alonso's starting. So yeah, I had to flip it because during storms it goes out. Hold on, I gotta.
Okay. Because I'm using the Fox Sports Roku app.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've just got. Well, my dad actually put it on Sling. Will, you were talking about the possibility of an I-95 World Series, and Jackson, did I ask you for your World Series prediction earlier?
I don't think so.
I can't remember if I did. So I'll ask both of you. World Series prediction.
I'll go Phillies Orioles. I'll stick with it.
That's what
But
I
I
said.
want the Brewers to beat the Phillies. I will be rooting for the Brewers against the Phillies.
I want the Braves to win the National League, but what I want and what I think are two totally different things. So I believe it's going to be Orioles Brewers for the World Series.
I would love that. Two small town, small market, gritty teams. One of them's young. For whatever reason, when I think of Pat Murphy, I kind of think of him as a Baltimore guy, even though he has zero connection to Baltimore. But he fits that kind of Baltimore vibe. By the way, the idea of going to a Brewers-Orioles World Series game at Camden Yards,
Like
that just sounds awesome.
Like we would love that, but I don't think ESPN's gonna love it because they'll say MLB is going downhill for the second straight year.
Well, we had another 2 small market World Series. I guess the Rangers aren't that small of a market, but
the Rangers are a big market, but it was, I think, the lowest viewed World Series in a while.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, it was one of the lowest because Arizona doesn't care about baseball.
Harsh.
Like I'm just being honest. Like if you can't fill, I'd say 85% of your stadium for a World Series. Okay, so for the Brewers in the wild card, it wasn't a sellout. I get it. Milwaukee's a very small market, but Phoenix is a big enough market. And Milwaukee, if Milwaukee didn't sell out a World Series game, then I would be like, okay, what's going on, guys? If it's the World Series, you got to be selling out those games.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, you're right.
And I mean, when I was in Arizona, they stunk, but the entire upper deck was empty. It was like there are a few fans, but it was, I'd say, probably an attendance of 20,000 or so. Like, and that's in the middle of the summer when there's no place you'd rather be than indoors, doing something fun. So. Emmanuel Clase, the best closer in baseball here on the mound for the top of the 9th.
101 cutters is just filthy. Filthy.
I know. It's insane. Jackson, I'll say on the Braves, I would have picked you guys maybe to go to the World Series, but you lose a Cy Young candidate and an MVP candidate. When that happens, the combination, if you lose one, okay, then maybe you still have a chance. And the other question is those guys are going to be back next year. So it's not like you can trade for a guy who you're going to have under control for a few years because they're going to have to sit on the bench. And I don't think you want a star player you're trading for sitting on the bench.
Yeah, like I did an episode with the host of Locked On Braves, Jake Mastriani, earlier today, where it was basically like a venting session where we were like talking about the first half of the season has just been sloppy for the Atlanta Braves. And the second half, we're hoping it gets better. But at the same time, we saw last year, just because you're the 1 seed or 2 seed, doesn't mean you're automatically going to win at all. As a matter of fact, we've seen it in the past several years. We see it especially with the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're the best team in the regular season. They got 114, 15 wins going into postseason, and they fall apart. My
Pete
question
Alonso. Sorry,
is, oh, it's okay. Will Dave Roberts be fired after 2024?
They don't
No.
keep
They
Dave.
don't.
Right. I think they'll keep him.
He's
think
going to
they-
be there until they don't win their division.
I think honestly, in the era we're in a "what have you done for me lately" era.
I mean, if he wasn't fired after blowing that series to the Nats, I don't think he'll. I think he has immunity forever.
If he wasn't fired after getting swept by the Diamondbacks.
I mean, he had a bunch of injuries last year.
Well,
so I'll give him a pass.
Well, and plus, like when I heard about how he got that vote of confidence, that's usually a sign that somebody's on the verge of getting fired. It's not good when you have to have somebody announce you're getting a vote of confidence.
Yeah. I want the thing about the Dodgers that's so interesting, and I don't think people have seen kind of the breakdown of this, but the reason they're able to spend so much money is because Sportsnet LA is paying them $8 billion over 25 years for the TV contract.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an unheard of number for a local TV contract. As Ellie De La Cruz grounds out to second for out number 2 here. But the other thing about the Dodgers this season is who knows if they're going to even get the 2 seed. The Brewers are only a game back of them. And the Brewers have almost, I want to say, 2/3 of their games remaining at home. So I think it's going to be kind of tough for the Dodgers. I mean, imagine the Dodgers having to play a wild card series. That wouldn't be good for them because we've seen how they've done against lower seeded teams in the past. As that looks like it will be out number 3. No, he's safe.
He beat it out.
He was on. Jackson Merrill, how good? I mean, speaking about the Dodgers moving to the Padres here, Jackson Merrill, if Paul Skenes didn't exist, he's the Rookie of the Year, right? Like, he's been absolutely incredible. Not getting enough talk for sure. But yeah, I think that it's going to be interesting to kind of see because it feels like it is, and my dad talked about this earlier, a very top-heavy league. Right, you have 3 teams in the National League, and then you have 4 real World Series contenders. And can you really consider the Yankees a World Series contender?
No.
So you have 6 World Series contenders, and then
I
the rest.
feel like them. I don't know. I feel like the Mets are like the way that they're hitting. I feel like the Mets could go on a run. I don't like the Mets, but
They'll have
they've
to
been
make a
hitting
move.
so well.
That makes
they-
both of us. Well, we're not too crazy about the Mets.
I don't think anyone here is. I'm not a pro Mets person. As I talked about earlier, the worst fan experience I've ever had was Easter Sunday at Citi Field. And most fans were nice, and that is your game. The American League takes it 5-3, your final. Most fans were great, as usually at stadiums, but it's Easter Sunday. Can we just not live in peace and like each other for the day?
Exactly.
That's yeah. But guys, appreciate you joining. Before you head out, couple of I guess I'll ask this question. Who do you expect to be the surprise team of the second half of the season?
You know what? I'll go with the Braves.
Okay, Jackson.
I'm gonna say somebody like the Red Sox because I
Red Sox are
remember.
a good pick.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
mean, they seem to be getting their guys back in time for the second half. And I
Yeah.
know, a couple weeks back, I talked with Gabby Hurlbut, the host of the Locked On Red Sox, and she mentioned that there's been a lot of injuries to the Red Sox core, and they're going to be all coming back in the second half of the season. So I would not be surprised if they make a comeback to the point where they take the AL East from the Orioles. I hope they don't take the AL East, but
I don't think they will. I
They
don't think they're
won't.
going to be able to catch up.
Yeah, Orioles are a lot.
the wild card is for sure a possibility, though. The thing I'll say, though, about that is that the team that to me has the easiest schedule the rest of the way statistically, I know I mentioned this earlier, it's the Cincinnati Reds. I think that they could slide into that number 6 wild card spot. I think it's going to be them and the Mets fighting for that. And when you look at their projected win totals, it's about a win difference between them right now and projected win totals at the end of the year.
So are the Cubs are in now, right? Or are they not in?
I think the Cubs are the Cubs are worse than the Nationals in the standings.
My bad. Sorry.
I think the Cubs are out. The Cardinals, I don't see doing anything. The Pirates, no. Sorry, Will, but the Nats, I don't see them doing anything. I think
we're selling. Yeah.
Who is there to sell, though?
Finnegan.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But I think that next year you guys are going to make the playoffs. I'll give you that. I think next year.
I hope so. Yeah. That's before the season.
mean,
I said I hope we can take a step forward this season and make the playoffs in 25.
Yeah,
So.
I think it's the same thing for Pittsburgh. Like, you're going to see Washington and Pittsburgh, I think, and Cincinnati, too. They're all so young. I think you're going to see them be really solid teams come the end of 2025, I'd say. Like, the Phillies aren't going anywhere. The Dodgers aren't going anywhere. The Brewers aren't going anywhere. Who knows what happens with the Mets? That's still kind of a question to see what they do coming up. But I think that for sure we're going to see the Pirates, Reds, and Nats get up there. And, I mean, the Nats I think they got a really good return on that Soto trade. It feels like they won that. And then obviously you got Dylan Cruz. When is he coming up? End of the year?
I hope Dylan Cruz and Brady House come up at the end of the year.
Yeah, once you get eliminated from the playoffs, I just say bring those guys up.
Yeah.
It can't hurt you. Guys, I guess I'll just ask for your final thoughts, Will.
Final thoughts are I wish C.J. Abrams had a better at-bat. He struck out in 3 pitches, so that was depressing. Yeah. But overall, I mean, pretty fun All-Star game. It was close to the end, which is a lot of the times not how it is, so that was good.
Yeah. Jackson?
Onward to the second half of the 2024 MLB season.
Yeah, we have to wait at least. I don't know when games start. I would guess that there's going to be some on Thursday.
Friday, I believe.
Okay, so we have to wait 2 days without baseball, a rare occurrence. Most of the league will get underway Friday. For the Brewers' case, it will be Saturday. And then we're off the race tour. And by the way, guys, we're only, I think, under 2 weeks away. I think we're 12 or so days away from the it would be, let's see, 1 week. We're getting close to that trade deadline.
Yep, July 30th.
Yeah, so exactly 2 weeks away, actually. So, yeah, 2 weeks away from the trade deadline. And especially this next week, because in that week of the deadline, we'll see a lot of action. But this next week will be pivotal to what happens in the rest of the season, because who knows who is going to buy and who's going to sell. We won't know until week after next. Who knows? I might be back on here for some trade deadline stuff. We did it last year. We might be back at it this year. Hopefully a baseball stream this weekend, maybe. I don't know. But guys, any social media plugs you want to give?
Just Marcus_era on my X. I'm trying to get more followers on there. And once I move back to close to DC, I'm going to be doing more videos. So check that out.
Nice. Okay, awesome. And Jackson, I'll first put in the link what you just sent me, your Locked On Braves episode. I love how you're interviewing these locked on people. Like you're going and you're getting the people who know the teams, the people who cover them every day. I think that's a key part of. I mean, like look at what you did with NC State during the NCAA tournament. And I think that is something extremely cool to see if you're just an average sports fan. Talking to the people who know it best is always something you want to see. So go check out that. The pinned link is Baseball Road, who joined us earlier, and there are Jackson's socials as well. And you said Marcus_era.
Yeah.
Let me put that in.
Yeah, I had on Locked On Braves this week, and I had on Locked On Red Sox a couple weeks back, and there's going to be an upcoming release of episode 41 where I'll be talking with AJ Black, the publisher of Eagles Insider from 247 Sports and the host of Locked On Boston College, where we're going to be discussing his take on Bill O'Brien, his record predictions for 2024. We're going to be talking about what the ACC media days are going to be looking like from the Boston College perspective. And I will say, with the news that happened with Florida State today, I can just breathe. I can breathe a sign of relief that I'm not going to have to discuss conference realignment from a Boston College point of view.
Yeah, and obviously in the coming years we will see realignment. The ACC probably the next conference to go. They feel the most unstable right now. But inevitably we're going to end up with two conferences.
And
it's inevitable.
I will tell you, Anthony, thank you for always watching my stories. I appreciate it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you guys are both awesome. Go check out these guys. And next basketball season, are we going to be back at it with some college hoops content? Awesome. Yeah. Well, that is always awesome to watch you guys talking hoops, especially when it involves Marquette basketball. But don't forget, folks, Marquette football undefeated since 1960. Another year of being undefeated in football. By the way, Marquette, an all-time winning record against Wisconsin in hockey. So there's a fun Marquette fact.
Wait, does Marquette still play hockey?
We haven't played, I think, since the 30s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's been quite a while since we played. But folks, appreciate you watching. Hopefully, we'll have some new Sorgi stories coming soon. As you heard my dad say earlier, at 9 Central Time on Tuesday morning, he will be on TMJ4. You can talking about his book that he released last year. You can find that at tmj4.com. And guys, appreciate you joining. Everyone have a great night, and so long from the Sorgi Story Studios in Philadelphia.